Evening. A Donegal TD says the ongoing controversy surrounding fish weighing in Killybegs is costing Southwest Donegal dearly in terms of money and jobs and requires direct intervention from the Taoiseach. In-factory weighing permits have been removed by the Chief Fisheries Protection Authority from 2 processors after catches were landed in Derry. The SFPA subsequently deemed Derry to be outside of Ireland. That's a fact that Sinn Féin Marine spokesperson Padraig McLaughlin says suggests Micheál Martin's shared island brand is a hypocritical designation. Somebody McLaughlin says untold damage could be done.
It's an absolute calamity. It's cost the local community in Southwest Donegal a fortune of money. It's cost people their jobs, and it's bureaucratic madness. What's been asked of fishermen and fish producers in Killybegs is not asked of anybody anywhere else in Europe. That's the scale of the madness that we're dealing with here. And when they were forced then to land their catch in Derry, they're being punished and penalised. And indeed, their businesses, the future of their businesses are put at threat.
Irish households are paying around €250 more per year for electricity than our European neighbours. New Eurostat figures compiled before the conflict in Ukraine show electricity prices here were already 26% higher than the EU average. With more, here's Mairead Cleary.
The Eurostat analysis published in the Irish Independent shows Ireland has the 4th most expensive electricity costs in the EU, with only Germany, Denmark and Belgium more expensive. We're paying around €250 more each year than the EU average. However, the figures were compiled before the war in Ukraine and so don't reflect the latest energy crisis, which could see Irish households paying an extra €800 a year because of recent price hikes. Although taxes and government levies here are regularly criticised, they are not the reason Irish consumers are paying more. Dara Cassidy from the price comparison website bonkers.ie is quoted as saying that once those charges are excluded, net electricity prices here are 60% above the EU average, suggesting that prices charged by suppliers in Ireland are the most expensive charged in the European Union.
100 new jobs have been announced for the North West. Medical device firm Arrowtech is to expand its headquarters in Sligo Town. Recruitment will begin immediately with design engineers, project managers, finance, customer service and admin personnel being sought. And the government is set to extend the lower 9% VAT rate for the hospitality industry. The measure, introduced to help combat the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, was to have expired in August. Finance Minister Paschal Donohoe is seeking Cabinet approval today to keep the lower VAT rate possibly until the end of this year. Well, Padraig Cribben, the Chief Executive of the Vintners Federation of Ireland, says it should apply next year as well.
Any extension is welcome, but I think it would be important to give certainty for the 2023 season. There are many businesses, coach tours, coach hire, that kind of stuff, who price out for the full year, and they're now fixing for next year. So while what is mooted is welcome, and bear in mind, until the Minister speaks, we don't know exactly what it is. We would like to see it extended to the end of 2023.
Blustery today with sunny spells and scattered showers, heavy at times, highs of 13 or 14 degrees Celsius in moderate to fresh and gusty southwesterly winds, increasing strong at times near coastal areas. That's Highland Radio News. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
The 9 till noon show with the City of Derry Airport, Algarve and Majorca summer holidays from the City of Derry Airport. Free childcare places available for ages 2 to 11. Visit cityofderryairport.com.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning, and you're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show on this Tuesday, which is the 10th of May 2022, 5 minutes past 9. Did I mention that already? It's good to have you on board. It's good to have you listening to the programme across the Northwest on your radio. Don't forget to, wherever you are, you might even get a slightly better reception. You can always listen to us on your smart speaker. Just give your command and say play Highland Radio. If you want to, you can watch us. You can hop on our website right now, highlandradio.com. Click the link, watch in your browser. Later on, you'll see the US Ambassador to Ireland. She's joining us for chat a little later on. Of course, she is visiting Donegal, where her grandparents are from, so we're going to be talking to her and so much more besides. We also did a little bit of digging on hotel prices. Do you remember? Yesterday we had a couple of callers in, texters in, saying that they were pricing hotels, and they were coming back at astronomical rates, 600, 700, 800, 900 per night. And the theme there was that they were being booked via a third party, the likes of Booking.com and others. Well, we've been doing a little bit of investigation. When I say we, I mean Donna Marie's been doing a little bit of investigating into this, and we're going to see what difference it makes if you contact these hotels directly. Now, as I say, it's not scientific. We rang around a few to see what the story was. Right, shall I give you that information now? Because we took 3 as an example. Okay. I'll come back to that in a second, actually. Stay there, because we've compared ringing direct to the likes of calling or going online at the likes of a third-party site like Booking.com, and we're going to tell you what the difference might be. But let's run through the papers first. Why break the habit of a lifetime? We'll start with the Derry Journal. Sinn Féin President Mary Lou McDonald has urged the immediate formation of a new executive under the joint leadership of First Minister-to-be Michelle O'Neill, following an historic election for the party. Politics is about partnership, it's about fair play, said the Sinn Féin leader. She arrived along with Michelle O'Neill at the Magherafelt Count Centre at the weekend. Sinn Féin has made headlines around the world after topping the poll in the Assembly election, but Mary Lou McDonald said delivery for local people was the urgent priority. Now, we do know the DUP, they want rid of the Northern Ireland Protocol before they will enter power, which is obviously interesting in that the Assembly in and of itself, if it is in power, if it's not in power, it's not within its gift to do anything really about the Northern Ireland Protocol. But interestingly, Britain's Queen is going to, well, it's her declaration today. She's not doing it because her balance is off. But there was some talk that maybe this address today would include something as it relates to the Northern Ireland Protocol, but we understand that that's not going to be the case. I don't know if that's the British government, again, sort of shafting the DUP a little bit, but we shall see how all that unfolds. The Donegal People's Press today, new industrial units are to be developed on a site in Letterkenny that was destroyed by a fire 2 years ago. Donegal County Council has granted conditional planning for the development at the former Watson Hire site in Kiltoy. On the evening of June 15th, 2020, a massive fire engulfed the premises as staff were pulling the shutters around 6 p.m. A huge bang was heard inside. Frightened staff members fled to safety and a blaze ravaged through the building. Within minutes, thick plumes of black smoke rose into the Letterkenny skyline and were visible 4 miles. Austin Reynolds has been granted permission to redevelop the site. He sought permission for the demolition of the fire-damaged stores and building and applied for the construction of a new development. 4 light industrial units with ground floor and mezzanine levels, including storage, were applied for. Mr. Reynolds also sought permission for associated site works, including reconnection to storm and foul drainage. So some development going on there. You heard Donald reference in the news, I'm sure, the fact that we are Europe's mugs, clearly. You know, when we talk about everything that's going on, we were mentioning our percentage of our catch in our own waters. You know, how the fact that, you know, we really had to, the ones that were forced to dig deepest, it seems, during the market crash, during the recession. Now, we have to pay €250 more for electricity than our EU neighbours. For what reason? There's no reason at all. It's not to do with levies. It's not to do with charges. We have a landscape that... everywhere you turn now, there's windmills and more planned, and plans to put offshore wind and all that type of stuff. And you would think there has to be some dividend for that, doesn't there? There has to be some payback, some offset for us. Well, there isn't, because for whatever reason, we simply are, just because we're Irish, because we live in Ireland, we are being charge €250 more for electricity than the EU average. So I'll read on here. Irish householders are paying €250 more for their electricity each year compared to our European counterparts. Electricity prices in Ireland are 26% above the EU average and are the fourth most expensive in the bloc. Only Germany, Denmark and Belgium are more expensive, figures from Eurostat show. However, the report does not capture the full extent of the energy crisis. This is because the figures were compiled long before the war in Ukraine broke out and before many suppliers were increasing their prices again. Householders here pay €800 per year more in electricity costs due to recent price hikes. The high cost of electricity comes despite the fact there are around a dozen suppliers in the residential market. The Eurostat report also shows that Ireland is the 8th most expensive country for residential gas in the EU. However, gas prices here are almost the same as the EU average. That's fine, but I mean, why... if we have multiple electricity suppliers here and this electricity can be supplied elsewhere in Europe, what is going on that the lowest figure in Ireland is set so much higher than the average figure in Europe? If there is true competition here, surely the price would be driven down like a tendering process, you know, the lowest bid gets it. How could it be that all of the companies in the Irish market will not bid any lower than €250 per year higher than the European average? It's very, I don't want to use the word suspicious, but certainly requires further investigation. I'm sure there are journalists working on that. The Irish Times this morning. Efforts to form a power-sharing government in Stormont were deadlocked last night after DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson said his party would not go back into the executive until there was decisive action on the Northern Ireland Protocol. This, of course, despite most people elected in Northern Ireland not looking for it to be removed. It's just really, I think, mainly the DUP. Well, speaking following a meeting with Northern Secretary Brandon Lewis in Belfast, Mr Donaldson said his party made its position clear. He said it was the position we have held before the election, throughout the election campaign, and will continue to hold, and that is until we get decisive action taken by the UK government on the protocol, we will not be nominating ministers to the executive. The Assembly is due to meet for the first time on Friday, but without a DUP nomination for Deputy First Minister, a new executive cannot be formed, and with no immediate prospect of a resolution, the North is facing a long period of political stalemate which could last up to 6 months and potentially a fresh election. So in that speech from Britain's Queen today, they're going to, the British are going to sort of prioritise further negotiations with the EU rather than making any decisions that would contravene international law. We'll see how it plays out. I just wanted to get it sorted. You know, there is a lot of money available that could be spent on the real things in Northern Ireland, like we mentioned yesterday, hospitals, schools, all that type of stuff, business supports, development, and that really is the what should be the priority, shouldn't it? And I'm sure the DUP would argue that is their priority, but they believe that the Northern Ireland Protocol is stifling the future or something along those lines, I'm sure. The Irish Daily Mail tells us today that Ireland should ban ads for formula milk to encourage breastfeeding, a senator has suggested. Independent Senator Alice Mary Higgins, the daughter of the President Michael D. Higgins, is picking up the mantle of her parents who recently said the marketing of formula milk was manipulative. Now, I just wonder, and we have one of the lowest rates of breastfeeding in Ireland, and Ireland has one of the lowest levels of breastfeeding in Europe. Is it because of adverts for formula milk? I mean, obviously formula milk is there, it's an option, a lot of people avail of it, but I wonder, is the fact that it's available and advertised, is that what would be discouraging people from breastfeeding? I'm not too sure about that, to be honest with you. I think there's other things that be going on. I think we've skipped a couple of generations of breastfeeding, and there's probably not. We could probably look at more supports in hospitals, prenatal, postnatal supports for people, because it can be a very difficult time. I don't know. I think it's just the path of least resistance, looking at adverts as being a solution to this. But anyway, there's others that know way more about this than I do. Anyway, the proposal to crack down on the advertisements will be brought to the Seanad tomorrow as an amendment to the Online Safety and Media Regulations Bill. However, one Fine Gael senator said the campaign was a red herring. The move is being encouraged by the World Health Organization, which has reported that formula milk companies are paying social media platforms and influencers to gain direct access to pregnant women and mothers at the most vulnerable moments in their lives. Ireland has one of the lowest breastfeeding rates in the world, with 6% of mothers still breastfeeding 6 months after birth. Senator Higgins told the Irish Daily Mail the lucrative business of advertising formula needs to be curtailed. And perhaps it should. I just think that if all the right supports and encouragements and options were given, so that people felt that they weren't being pressured into it, or that it's something that had a bit of space to try and work on, and that wasn't working, then maybe you could look at other things. I just think it's bigger than that. But what would I know compared to the WHO? Right, the Irish Daily Mirror, and just fingers in the ears if you're a little bit sensitive, or even you wouldn't have to be a little bit sensitive. The HSE, it's just about where we spend our money in the health service, and maybe this is good news or bad news, I really don't know. But the HSE paid more than €1 million for 69 men to be fitted with bionic penises. The devices, which is also known as a penile prosthesis, is surgically implanted and can be manually inflated, allowing a male patient to... Records released under the Freedom of Information Act show that 86 men were fitted with the bionic devices in public hospitals between 2012 and 2020, 69 of whom were public patients. The remaining 17 either paid for the procedure privately or were covered by health insurance. The word bionic is best known in relation to the 1970s classic TV series The $6 Million Man, the paper points out for some reason, and it actually goes in to talk about the character Lee Majors. I think Dara McDonough's gone off on one a wee bit in that article. But anyway, €1 million, perhaps for those affected, it represents good value for money. The Irish Sun today, 1 in 7 footy fans. Now I have a feeling this is a survey out of Britain, but it might apply here too. 1 in 7 footy fans love their club more than their partner, and Geordies are most devoted. A quarter of Newcastle United supporters would put the Magpies before their wife or husband. Least bothered were Norwich fans, with just 8% putting the top flight flops first. Across all supporters, 15% admitted loving their team more than their significant other, the poll for Sonos found. Newcastle fan Andy Brookhouse, 42, said his partner knew he was more in love with them than he was with her. The carpet fitter said, "I met my partner 3 years ago, but I've been going to St James Park since I was a lad. She has come to accept she takes second place to Newcastle United." She really hit the jackpot there, didn't she? Where her partner is publicly stating that he loves Newcastle more than her, and not only that, but publicly stating on her behalf that she fully accepts that. Okay, and finally, just from the world of showbiz, will you be watching the Eurovision semi-finals? Brooke, of course, from the Northwest, will be representing Ireland. I think it'd be a travesty if she doesn't make the final, because it's a good song. Whether you like the song itself or not, it is a good pop song. It's a decent Eurovision song, and it seems it's likely she might get to the final, and I would love it for her and for the country if she did. The only thing, not the only thing, is I mean, Ukraine's going to win it, okay? It doesn't really matter if someone goes up on stage and puts their hand under their armpit and stops making raspberry noises. The Ukraine are going to win it because of what's going on, and fair play. So really what we're looking at here is who's going to come second to the Ukraine. But Ireland's odds of reaching the Eurovision final have been slashed amid a flurry of bets, but Ukraine is still tipped to win. Patriotic punters are rallying behind Derry native Brooks Scullion, who's 23, to reach the final in the Italian city of Turin. Despite not qualifying since 2018, there's been a last-minute show of support for Ireland to qualify from the second semi-final on Thursday, with odds slashed to 10-3 from 5-1 yesterday. So is the first semi-final tonight, second semi-final which Ireland is in on Thursday, and then the final itself takes place on Saturday night. Okay, 086 60 25 000. WhatsApps and texts, please, to that number. We have loads coming up on the show for you to get involved in if it tweaks your interest, but we want you to raise your issues too. I know many of you contact us directly via email and Facebook, but listen, you can get things moving quickly if you give us a call as well. 07491 25000, 07491 25000, or as I said, that WhatsApp text number 08660 25000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The fishermen working the seas off Ireland bring us a real bounty every day. Like Irish crab meat, low in fat and brim full of protein, omega-3 and essential vitamins and minerals. For lunch or dinner, Irish crab meat is a delicious shellfish you can buy cooked and ready to go in your supermarket or fishmongers. For great recipes online, like crab pasta with cherry tomatoes and basil, visit boardbia.ie/crab and make everyday meals amazing.
McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing and Tiles, serving the Northwest for over 40 years. Explore our showroom with more than 40 displays. Choose from an array of shower doors, shower trays, baths and bathroom accessories. Speak with an expert about tile selection and wall paneling. We also stock an array of plumbing, heating and stove spare parts, as well as a great selection of kitchen mixers and radiators at our trade counter. Our stove department is also available for you to choose a style that suits your needs and complements your home. McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing, Tiles, Buncrana. We're here for you.
Ellen, write what you want to be when you grow up on the blackboard.
Ellen, remember to sign up for the swim team.
Ellen, all competitors must register today.
Alan Keane has written a name into the history books by winning gold for Ireland!
Nothing is written until you write it.
Ellen, can I have your autograph?
You write it, we underwrite it. Allianz, proudly supporting Paralympics Ireland since 2010.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Pre-book your airport parking, fast track and lounge access at cityofderryairport.com for a stress-free start to your trip.
All right, I took off early there. Right, so we were talking about hotel prices, whether you use the likes of booking.com. I think it's the most popular, so we'll use it. But there's also a difference whether you use the booking.com app or a desktop, and then you ring a premises over the telephone. So we'll run through the various prices, and then maybe we can come to a conclusion. Now, we went for a peak time, okay? June 3rd and 4th. It's a bank holiday weekend, and we priced it for 2 adults and 2 children aged 6 and 9. So we went down to Westport to the Atlantic coast. On booking.com, on their mobile, €1,133 for those 2 nights. If you booked on the desktop, $1,121, so you saved a bit of money there. If you rang them directly, this is Atlantic Coast Westport, if you rang them directly, the price was €486. That's a huge saving, isn't it? From 1133 to 486. So then we called a hotel in Letterkenny over the same weekend to see what the story was. On booking.com on the mobile, right? The hotel for those 2 nights for that family, €385. Which represents decent value, I think, given the weekend that's in it. If you have the money and you're heading away, it's for 2 nights on a bank holiday weekend, right? But if you use booking.com on the desktop, €428. So the difference between checking this hotel in Letterkenny on the mobile on booking.com versus the desktop, you saved considerably using the mobile app. But if you rang them over the phone, it was the same as the desktop price, €428. A little bit confusing, right? Desktop, booking.com, 428 for a hotel in Letterkenny for those 2 nights. Over the phone, 428. But if you went on your mobile, 385. All right, I don't necessarily know what the crack is there. Right, booking.com on your mobile for Jury's Inn in Parnell Street. This is expensive whichever way you look at it. €832 if you went on the booking.com website on mobile, 832. On the website, on your desktop, 925, right? So it's going up. That's almost €100 saved by booking on your phone. And over the telephone, if you rang the hotel directly, €969. So significantly more than booking.com on your mobile. So the takeaway here is it's hit and miss. It depends. I think it depends on how many rooms booking.com has secured at the particular hotel and when you go on that website. But I think really what the message is don't take your first price. price on your mobile, price on your desktop, and ring the hotel and go for the cheapest, because there is hundreds of euro to be saved, sometimes by ringing, and also just by simply using your mobile instead of your laptop. Okay, so just hopefully that's of some interest to you. Right, Ian McLenny owns a caravan park. He joins us now. Ian, thank you for taking the call. Right, Ian, we heard yesterday from a disgruntled caravaner, I think. You know, he's been doing this for 15 odd years. Obviously, then everyone was at it during lockdown. And now he says post-lockdown, prices have gone through the roof. He's going to see what the crack is this year. And if prices don't come down, he's going to pack in the activity all told. But you own a caravan, so can you give us some indication as to why prices seem to be going up?
Well, Greg, the price of everything is going up. Like last month, I was paying 18.5 cents a kilowatt hour for my electric. This month, I'm paying 37.9 cents plus VAT for my electric. That's 100% increase. The water charge is going up, rates are going up, insurance is going up, maintenance costs going up. Last year, you were paying 80 euros a metre for concrete. This year, it's 125 a metre.
Mm.
Last year I put up new timber fencing. Thank God I done it last year, because this year it cost me the double. Everything's going up, you know.
Do you think sometimes that people don't take into account making sure a place looks nice all the time, because something can go into dereliction or run down really, really quickly? I presume on the off season is when you do a lot of work around the caravan park. Do you think maybe that people don't see that and therefore don't factor that in when they're sort of criticising price hikes?
No, they don't see that at all. They just see you on a summer's evening taking in this money, but they don't see what's gone out all winter. The costs, like you have even standing charges for your electric, you have about £300 a month in the winter time when the place closed. And different things like that there, you know, they don't see that. And your man also stated there yesterday in caller about having to pay for pre-booking. Well, the reason why that was introduced was we would have got a lot of, in the past, people booking for the weekend, and then maybe the weather turned bad and they wouldn't arrive. And they'll actually go on Facebook and they'll say on Facebook, oh, we book 2 or 3 parks and we decide in the morning on which one we go to. But other people do the same.
Yeah, of all of the things that he said, in fairness, Ian, that's the one I thought, well, to be honest, if I were running a caravan park, I probably would do that myself, because we hear from the likes of the restaurant industry, those in the, you know, hairdressing or nail bar industry, you know, people not turning up, that costs the business big time. So I think that's reasonable, Ian. I think most people would think that's reasonable.
Well, if you want your pitch depth for you booked, guaranteed it'll be there when you arrive.
Mm.
You prepay. If you want to arrive at the gate with a chance of getting in and maybe not get in, the place could be back.
But you can't have your cake, you can't eat your cake and still have it. You can't pre-book and not turn up.
No, but up until we introduced this pre-paying when you're booking, we would have maybe 60 or 70% of people, if the weather was bad, not arriving, and the place lying empty. So that's why we changed it. Now, he also said that yesterday, this guy that phoned in, that everybody will be heading to foreign holidays once things get up and running and going right again. I would like to know what foreign holiday you could book without prepaying.
Oh, none.
No. So I don't see where his argument is at all. Like, you know, but we're at it now for 20 years. We have a lot of customers that would ring you up that have been there on team times. Like, we don't take pre-booking for them because we know these genuine people.
Yeah.
They've been with us maybe 20, 30 times. But a new customer coming in, you never met before, you don't know if they're going to turn up or not. We always take payments when the book.
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable. Ian, how do you, what are bookings like for the summer season? Is this going to be a bumper? Is it going to be normal? Is it going to be a dip after the spell of COVID? Like, what? How do you think the summer's going to go?
Well, it's early yet because the weather's bad.
Yeah.
think it'll be as good as it was this last 2 years. Like we were packed out there for the 2 years over the COVID. Whenever we could get open, like we couldn't get open to the 29th of June. The year before last, we were open the 1st of June. I think it was last year. Once we did get open, then we were packed to the teeth. You know, we were turning away as many as we could let in.
Frustrating, that is.
I don't think it will be as good, but it'll still be okay.
And do you think a lot of those were sort of new to the caravanning lifestyle because of COVID, and maybe they've put the trailer or whatever it might be up for sale on Dundee or the dealer or wherever else? Do you think, or do you think they'll have caught the bug and you'll see them again this year?
Well, I think we'd have caught the bug and we'd see them, and they didn't realise how good a crack it was. And now we would have got a lot of people from Dublin last year who we never got before. I think what was happening in Dublin was because of the COVID, they were afraid to head down to Kerry and Killarney and down there thinking it'd be packed out. So they come up to Donegal thinking it'd be quieter, and when they landed up here, they realised it was packed out up here too. But we would have got hundreds from Dublin now that we never would have got before.
Interesting. It'd be really interesting to see return bookings, particularly from that kind of market, Ian. I think that would be, really quite interesting. And what about the season, sort of, edging it out towards maybe that Halloween? Because the longer the season is, obviously, the better it is for you, and the better it is for you, the better it is for the local businesses as well. That's how it all works. Obviously it's all weather dependent, Ian, but do you see the season extending out naturally over the last couple of years?
No. Caravan season, we do a lot of tents and that,
Yeah.
And once you get into September and October, days off, you'll get an odd foreigner and that. Before the pandemic and that, you would get an odd.
The Hardy Bucks.
Germans, we would get a lot of Germans,
yeah.
French would come maybe around September and that. But days of death, once it comes to September, you make it an odd. It depends on the weather. You make it an odd weekend or so, but but we do get an odd request too. Like I've seen people asking to put up a tent Christmas week to spend Christmas in a tent.
And did they?
Oh, we were closed. We didn't.
I mean, it's nice, but I'm not sure I'd want to be cooking a turkey in a tent either.
No, you get all sorts. You get. That's what I enjoy about the business so much. You meet people from all over the world every day of the week. You don't know who's going to come in the gate, and all the stories, and I tell them about all the history of the area and all around here, and they seem to enjoy that.
And it's all that excitement of, if it's a caravan or if it's pitching a tent coming in, and the young ones jumping out of the car, and I'd say it's a lovely atmosphere to be around.
Well, I always say to them, listen, if you take a young family to a hotel and that, in 10 years' time they'll forget it, that they were on that holiday. But if you take them in a caravan or a tent, and they're going to the shop and they're buying a tent and they're getting everything ready and everything packed into the car and landing in a park and all, and sitting around the campfire at night doing cooking marshmallows and them kind of things, they'll never forget that.
Yeah. You paint a lovely picture. Yep. Ian, listen, hopefully you have a lovely, another very successful summer and beyond, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
All right, take care of yourself. That's Ian McElhenney there. He's the owner of a caravan park, and always good to get good perspectives on these things, or different perspectives. This caller says the price of a staycation is now matching that of a foreign holiday. The reality is a foreign holiday will typically have more to do, especially for children. We're seeing a lot more last-minute cancellations because people are getting better deals abroad, and this is not going to help prices. But no, like particularly tourism countries where that's their industry, that's where they're geared, and everything is geared up towards that. They're looking to bounce back after COVID, and they're going to be offering great deals. But it's not for everyone. We're heading away in July and August. It is just not for everyone with the heat. And, try booking maybe 1 or 2 nights in some of these hotels, and you might get a different price compared to when you book out a week or 10 days. I don't know. It's different. I think they're different products, really, to be honest with you. But anyway, we'll be back with more. Our next guest, in fact, after the break.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Enjoy convenient travel to London, Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, the Algarve and Majorca. Visit cityofderryairport.com.
At M&S, we know there are some essentials you buy week in, week out, and we also know you want the best quality without flinching at the till. So we're sure you'll love Remarkable Value. More than 100 great quality products you use all the time, all at a price you'll love. You'll find pasta for 50 cent, a litre of milk for only 85 cent, and 6 eggs for just €1.60. For M&S quality and everyday low prices, choose Remarkable Value. Just one of the ways to save with M&S Food. Subject to availability, see in store for details.
Make this gardening season a lot easier with the great range of garden equipment at great prices in Watson Hire Letterkenny. Lawnmowers, strimmers and hedge cutters, scarifiers, power washers and much more for sale and hire. A full range of fertilisers and weed killers and great deals on paint and decorating accessories. All at Watson Hire, Kiltoy, Letterkenny. For more, see TikTok, Facebook or visit watsonhire.ie.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Now, you might remember some time ago we did an interview inviting you to take part in a national inpatient experience survey. I think the hospital contacted people directly if they qualified during the time that was being analysed and what have you. But anyway, the results of that survey have been released, and we're joined now in the programme by Tracy O'Carroll, who's head of National Care Experience Programme with HICWA, and joins us on the line now. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. Right. Again, and perhaps this is not surprising, most people said they had a good experience in hospital. Is that the standout one for you?
Yeah. Well, will I just remind everybody what it's all about?
Oh, of course. Go ahead, Tracy, please.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks. So it's the National Care Experience Programme. So it's a partnership between the HSE, the Department of Health, and the Health Information and Quality Authority. And the reason that's so important is that it allows us all to use the findings in within our own remits. So Letterkenny had 376 responses. So that was everybody who is over 16 years of age and was in Letterkenny University Hospital from September 1st to September 30th of 2021 were invited to tell us about their experience. And remember, we were still under COVID restrictions and visitors, were restricted, etc. So they did phenomenally well to get such a high result then, as 81% who said that they had a good or a very good experience. Because the survey asked about the whole experience from admission to care in the ward, diagnosis and treatment, and discharge and transfer. So, like Letterkenny did strongly because they came out that they treated people with respect and dignity, and that their hospital wards and bathrooms were clean. And I mean, obviously, anyone that goes into hospital, what they want is to be made better and to get home. And if that happens and it's okay, well, you're up to high dough, you know what I mean? Are we confident, Tracy, that these surveys account for the fact that maybe, or is it possible that maybe people who have a positive experience are more inclined to engage in this because they're so, thank God to all the staff and the nurses were great, rather than those that had a negative experience that might say, you know what, stuff that, I don't want anything to do with that report, I don't want anything to do with that hospital. Like, do you believe, and I'm not questioning it, Tracy, but do you believe this is a fair representation of people's experience in Letterkenny University Hospital and others? Well, we've never done a study on the people who don't respond, and maybe that's a good idea, Greg. We should take a look at that. But we do get negative or remarks as well, or challenges, and the strong piece about that is, like, for instance, in Letterkenny, as in nationally actually, discharge is our weakest area. So people don't know what to expect when they go home. They don't know when they're going home. They don't know what to plan for when they go home. And Letterkenny are putting in a response to that. Like, they've developed a leaflet to start, the conversation with their patients about what they need to think about for when they go home and when they will be going home. And another area is medication side effects and what to watch out for. Essentially, the whole area around communication has always come across quite weak nationally and in Letterkenny, but it was stronger this year. And that's because, again, we had the COVID restrictions, but patients really need to, want the time to sit down and talk to kind of their doctors and their nurses to understand, about their condition, what the side effects of their medications and what the side effects of those are. And they also would really like that their family members are involved in that, because as we all know, when someone's sick in our family, when we all support them when they come home, and we want to do the right thing and know what that right thing is, so we need that support.
Looking at the Seattle University Care Group, over half of respondents felt the care they received at hospitals within that group was very good, which means that, just short of half thought it was good or worse. Where's our bar? What is our target there? Because you would hope that really the majority, and an overwhelming majority, would feel that they went in there, they could understand everything that was going on, there was good communication, the place was clean. How high is our bar?
We continually strive to improve, and I suppose at the moment the focus is on communication and discharge. So we're taking Letterkenny, but actually the sales group are all putting in, if they don't have them in, I know they're in Galway, but they're putting in patient advocacy managers, which is a person who's going to go out and talk to patients and see what they need and support them in every way possible. And we have found that is hugely like a positive role within the hospitals and really helps patients to kind of navigate the hospital system. So our bar is that everybody leaves with a good experience. We don't want anyone to have a poor experience. And that is why it is really important that we hear, about patients' experience from their perspective, not from, the clinicians or the media. It's from patients, from the people actually using the service, what's important and what's not. And they're generally hugely complimentary to all staff members, catering, portering, etc., and of course the clinicians. But they do notice the stress that they're under, if they're under resourced, the facility challenges, etc., and they do comment on those, and they all help towards getting improvements in the system. Again,
because I just think a lot of people respond to these surveys are quite sympathetic to maybe the people that you talk of there. I just wonder how truly reflected it is, Tracy. But I only hear probably, people are probably motivated to contact programs like this when they've got a negative experience, and perhaps less so when they've had a positive. But the one thing that surely is completely unacceptable, I was sent pictures from the hospital ED yesterday, obviously not for publication or anything like that there, but someone was so upset with what was happening. They said, look what's going on. People sitting around the place, people experiencing really long waits, people that were really quite sick in one particular case that I'd be aware of. Over 70% of people attending the ED at Letterkenny University Hospital waited more than 6 hours before being admitted. So these were people sick enough, deemed sick enough to be admitted to the hospital. That's not acceptable, is it?
No, and that's for the HSE to work on that. But I did note that they have improved since 2019 in their emergency department timelines, as in the majority of people wait between 6 and 12 hours. Not acceptable, higher than where the HSE target is, but it looks like they are moving towards improvement, at least from the patient perspective and from the patient responses that we have gotten.
Okay.
But obviously a lot more to be done.
Right, Tracy, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it. Tracy O'Carroll, who is head of National Care Experience Programme with the HICWA. 086 60 25,000. Can you ask Greg, why on earth is there men holding up traffic on the road outside Crawley, Letterkenny all week at 7 a.m, and there's no one on the road for the last 2 weeks? I don't know what's going on there. Maybe someone might have an insight that can help us. A caller is a holiday home owner. From her experience, people leaving the heating running on constant with windows open and lights are left on all the time. The cost to replace oil increases in electricity, and the cost to clean all home and linens between each day. People need to understand that it's no wonder that prices have gone up. And you do wonder, would you be as inclined to switch that light off or switch that heating off in a hotel or in a holiday home as you might be in your own home? All right, so we're going to be speaking about breastfeeding and as it relates to calls for a ban on formula milk adverts. We're going to be talking about that, excuse me, after these messages.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Pre-book your airport parking, fast track and lounge access at cityofderryairport.com for a stress-free start to your trip.
Experience a taste of Italy with the Italian event at Dunnes Stores. Mix and match any 3 for 2 on our new Italian range. Think delicious Italian-made fresh and filled pastas, flavoursome sauces, hand-stretched stone-baked pizzas, and all butter tear and share breads. Buy any 2 products, get the 3rd free. Plus, with our 10.50 grocery voucher, you save even more, which means every trip to Dunnes Stores means better value. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used to next grocery shop of €50 or more.
If you're starting a new business in 2022, call into BizPrint today and get sorted. Logo design, invoice books, business cards, and all your printing needs. Call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 91779555 or visit bizprint.ie.
Teagasc are holding a forest walk this Wednesday the 11th at 7 p.m. on the farm of Michael Chance, Drumbarnet Lower, Manor Cunningham, F92, F972. We will visit a recently felled spruce plantation transformed into a young woodland. It has been redesigned with recreation in mind. Speakers are Michael Chance Farmer, Ross Buchanan, Forestry Contractor, and Stephen Meehan, Teagasc Forestry Advisor. All welcome.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Thinking of a sun holiday with the family? You can now fly to Barcelona 3 times weekly this summer with Ryanair and enjoy some of Europe's best family campsites. Ireland West Airport. You're flying.
Okay, looking out the window, if you look out one window, it's beautiful and sunny here at the mountaintop. The other, dark clouds. But the weather forecast tells us that a blustery day today with sunny spells and scattered showers, turning heavy at times. Temperatures 13 or 14 degrees in moderate to fresh and gusty southwesterly winds, increasing strong at times near coasts. So, Irish GPs are backing calls to ban online baby formula ads. The proposal was tabled in the Seanad last week on the new Online Safety and Media Regulations Bill. The Irish Congress of General Practitioners say just 6% of infants here are exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months of their life, significantly lower than the European average of 25%. And we've also heard from Independent Senator Alice Mary Higgins, who says the World Health Organization is opposed to targeted ads for formula milk. Right, Dr. Sarah Brennan is a GP, NUI Galway lecturer, breastfeeding advocate and researcher, and joins us on the programme now. Good to have you back on the show, Sarah. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be back again.
Right, okay. Would you back this call for a ban on advertising for baby formula? And what do you think it might achieve, Doctor?
Yeah, so of course I back it. And I'd just like to, I suppose, qualify it that this is not new. We have done this before, and we did this as a result of an EU directive where we were asked to have legislation so that there was a restriction on advertisement of infant formula. And this did happen. And when this happened, when there was a ban on infant formula advertisement, that's when the companies developed follow-on formulas. So this is not new. This is just us reimagining or understanding what we can do now in today's really advanced technical media, I suppose, strong world that we have now. So this is being time appropriate now. Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, like speaking to people on this program, right, and outside the program as well, the reason they didn't go down the road of breastfeeding, they probably wanted to, was they felt a lack of maybe encouragement or support before they had the baby. They felt under pressure or rushed, or not supported after having the baby, and then afterwards they felt that are there facilities for it? What does society think? How will I be able to sort of get back to work or look after the other children whilst doing this? Like, what I'm saying is that should we not be getting all of those things right and giving people all the support and encouragement and advice? Because we've skipped a couple of generations here, so maybe mums and aunties or whoever it might be aren't there to help. I just think, is this not maybe like the path of least resistance, and we can do that and ban it, but will it actually lead to any increase in women breastfeeding and feel supported and encouraged in doing so without being made feel guilty if it's not for them? Sorry for the big long question, I hope it makes some sense.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, having support systems in place is crucial to being able to breastfeed. I mean, we don't live in the families that we used to live in before, where I would have had my mother and my mother's mother there to help me and support me to be able to breastfeed. So our society has changed significantly, and really it becomes a multisectoral approach to helping create a culture that really helps people to make the choice of breastfeeding. And again, I might reiterate that it is so important that people make the right decision for them. But the problem with the advertising is that it's pervasive, it's predatory, and it's also exploitative. So it kind of preys on our insecurities and our emotional worries that we may have, and it uses them to get into our unconscious mind, and then it takes away our choice, because actually infant formula becomes our only choice. And that's the big shame about this really aggressive advertisement that's there. And this will not ban access to formula. It will be freely accessible, freely visible to everybody. It just stops formula companies using the real predatory ways that they have of trying to tap into our unconscious mind and direct our choices to suit them and their commercial interests.
And how does it do that, Sarah, in your view? Is it that it's seen, it presents it as an equal option or an easier option? Like, how does the advertising influence how many people breastfeed in your view?
Yeah, well, and actually, I think we have to go back to how we feel in ourselves. And what they do is they create this imaging that's really positive and bright and optimistic and joyous around formula feeding. And that lands on us. And that's what we remember when it comes to infant feeding. Whereas if you look at the imagery that you see around breastfeeding, it can be really dark and lonely in the middle of the night with a little baby. And certainly I'm a real sensitive person, and I see those and I feel sadness and loneliness inside of me really strongly. And if that's the feeling that we get when it comes to breastfeeding, that's going to drive us away from that behavior and towards a different behavior. So they're just examples, but there has been a paper done called Selling Second Best by Jared Hastings, and it really highlights the tactics that they use. And they call first-time mothers the Holy Grail. And they really try and tap into whatever it is they're interested in. Are they interested in science? Are they interested in safety, keeping their baby safe? Or are they interested in this joyous little baby and, laughter and fun? And they use them to kind of devise marketing strategies to kind of draw their attention. And this is being flicked at us all the time. Once I put in that I'm due a baby, this is flicked at me all the time when I'm scrolling through my phone. And that lands unconsciously, whether we're consciously aware of what we're seeing, it lands in our body, and it does influence our choices. And the WHO have done really wonderful research, and they're publishing all of these reports this year. They've already published one in February and again in April. And it really highlights the shocking extent to which these companies are really driving their commercial interests and really not thinking about the health and well-being of mothers and babies and families throughout the world. Okay, so you look at the packaging, it would say probably, full of all these great things, vitamins, new formula, it's not a substitute for mother's milk, but you know what? It's not far off it. That's the kind of impression that you might get. I'm not sure I've ever asked the question this way before. Like, because there'll be a lot of people listening going, have I done something wrong and given my baby formula? We know what the advantages of breastfeeding are. What are the disadvantages of formula feeding? Are there any, other than you're not breastfeeding? Well, if you look at what breast milk is, it's a live bioactive substance that we produce ourselves, and we tailor make it specifically for our babies, and our babies dictate what's in that. And actually, if a baby is sick, when they look at the constituents of breast milk, they see that we produce a whole lot more immune factors, white cells to help fight infection, antibodies. And it's specific to what that baby has there and then. So that's something that you cannot replicate in formula. And there is a basic constituent requirement for formula, and that's set down in law by the EU. And every single formula has to have that. And that is perfectly appropriate as a form of nutrition for infants. And any brand is the same. And they may say this one is good because it's got this, but many of those claims are unscientific and unfounded by research. And really, that's manipulating people into thinking that this particular brand is better than that one, when actually they're all the same. So, we shouldn't have to feel this financial pressure of buying this particular one because it's better, when in fact, they're all the same.
I mean, is there an argument, or could there ever be an argument for a levy on this formula milk, and maybe that money being ring-fenced to support women or encourage women to breastfeed? I mean, we see it in other areas. It's unimaginable it could happen in the area of formula milk, but is there even an argument for something like that?
I don't think there is. Formula milk is necessary. It has been a wonderful invention, and we really do need to embrace that. But really, I think the most important thing is limiting the way that companies can really seep into our unconscious mind and affect our choices. And it's well proven in research that this is what's happening. And it won't, again, reduce anyone's access to formula, because we don't want to do that. We want everyone to be able to use what they feel is best for them, because feeling comfortable in yourself with your baby is so important. But we do want to create a culture that really helps people make the choice of breastfeeding, and one that is well supported. That is so important too.
Yeah, and that you mentioned the social media ads. They hit you with this in-your-face ads. So, right, okay, that's that product. And then they start feeding you influencers and their review. And then they start feeding you with articles that look like that would endorse your decision to go down a certain route. It's so multi-layered. It's not just simply an ad. It's so manipulative in all areas. But that's a wider conversation, Sarah. But on an issue as important as this, I think they have the social media companies need to take a look at themselves to some extent in what they're involved in.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's in the last report, is those really underhand and unethical tactics that they use to drive our choices to suit their commercial interest. And really, this isn't about profits. This is about health and well-being, and that's what we want for all of our babies. We don't want people, being manipulated into making choices that maybe can cause harm, and that's the big problem here.
Okay. As always, thank you very much for joining us, Sarah. I appreciate your time. You too.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Dr. Sarah Brennan, who's a GP, NUI Galway lecturer, breastfeeding advocate and researcher. What are your views on that issue, or how has it made you feel? 086 60 25,000, your WhatsApps and texts. If you're listening to us from outside the Republic, 0035386 60 25,000. You can always give us a call, you know that, don't you? 07491 25,000, or your emails too. Right, okay, how do you fancy a trip to Andre Rio? It's this Saturday, so you have to be quick in your decision making. We have 3 spaces remaining for the trip on Saturday the 14th of May. It's €275 per person sharing, and the price includes luxury transfers, overnight stay in the 4-star City North Hotel on a B&B basis, your ticket to the show. Trip will include a few hours leisure time in Dublin on Sunday before travelling back to Donegal. So listen, this is by coincidence, but we've been talking about hotel prices and some of the prices. €275 includes your hotel, your tickets, your transfer. If you have an interest in that, if you'd fancy seeing the world-renowned Andre Rio live, you can call us right now, 07491 25,000, and reserve your spot if that is for you. Okay, we'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show after the news at 10 with Donal and the obituary notices. Stay where you are.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Enjoy convenient travel to London, Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, the Algarve and Majorca. Visit cityofderryairport.com.
Wet n Wild, your one-stop shop for water sports, is fully stocked with all the leading brands of wetsuits, bodyboards, kayaks, paddleboards, scuba gear, swimwear, dry robes, tow floats, UV protection, life jackets, sunglasses, buoyancy aids, picnic sets, cool boxes, stoves, cool bags, barbecues and beach windbreaks. So if you're on, in, under or beside the water this summer, Wet n Wild can keep you safe and looking good.
Ireland is leaving diesel behind, and Kelly's Toyota is leading the way with our incredible range of self-charging hybrid electric cars. We've amazing offers, including contributions and trade-in boosters. And with 46 years of experience here in Donegal, you can trust us to help you on your electric journey. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota, Ireland's best-selling car brand. Visit Kelly's Toyota Mount Charles or Letterkenny today. Toyota. built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
I've great news for everyone who's looking for a good night's sleep. Restex Beds are looking forward to welcoming you to their brand new showroom at Mountaintop, Letterkenny. It's one of the biggest and best bed and mattress showrooms in the Northwest and has fantastic opening offers now in store. Restex is the most trusted name in beds and mattresses in the Northwest. Why don't you call in and get the bed of your dreams at Restex Beds, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. A teenage girl injured in a road collision near Carrigart on Sunday, May 1st has died. The 17-year-old passed away last evening at Beaumont Hospital in Dublin. Gardaí are again appealing for witnesses to the single car collision to come forward. It happened at Mean Formal Glen at approximately 9:15 that evening. Gardaí are particularly urging any road users who were travelling in the area at the time and may have dashcam footage to make it available. An emergency housing meeting is taking place today in the Glenties Municipal District as homelessness increases across the northwest. There are renewed calls for vacant properties in Donegal to be brought back into use, particularly in the west of the county. Councillor Micheál Cullen-McGillaspig also believes Donegal County Council needs to be more proactive in securing land to build homes. He says there is an urgent need for action.
The reality is that we don't even have emergency accommodation. We haven't built enough houses. The government has chosen to allow the private market to meet the needs of our communities, and unfortunately what more and more people moving towards Airbnb and people with holiday homes, we're left with the sad reality and unfortunate reality and then more reality that people are homeless. We need to respond to this crisis, and the response hasn't been to date by government adequate enough.
100 new jobs have been announced for the Northwest. Medical device firm Arotech is expanding its headquarters in Sligo Town. Recruitment will begin immediately. Design engineers, project managers, finance, customer service and admin personnel are being sought. Irish households are paying around €250 more for electricity than our European neighbours. New Eurostat figures compiled before the conflict in Ukraine show electricity prices here were already 26% higher than the EU average. And it's not all down to tax. With more, here's Mairead Cleary.
The Eurostat analysis published in the Irish Independent shows Ireland has the fourth most expensive electricity costs in the EU, with only Germany, Denmark and Belgium more expensive. We're paying around €250 more each year than the EU average. However, the figures were compiled before the war in Ukraine and so don't reflect the latest energy crisis, which could see Irish households paying an extra €800 a year because of recent price hikes. Although taxes and government levies here are regularly criticised, they are not the reason Irish consumers are paying more. Dara Cassidy from the price comparison website bonkers.ie is quoted as saying that once those charges are excluded, net electricity prices here are 60% above the EU average, suggesting that prices charged by suppliers in Ireland are the most expensive charged in the European Union.
Meanwhile, EirGrid says there are huge opportunities in the northwest in terms of the production of renewable energy. There were a number of roadshows in Letterkenny and Donegal Town this month, and EirGrid said they want to reach a target of 80% of Ireland's electricity coming from renewable sources in the coming years. With more detail, here's Michaela Clark.
In order to achieve up to 80% clean electricity by 2030, EirGrid needs to add more energy from renewable sources such as wind and sun to the power system. To do so, the grid needs to be strengthened and made more flexible. EirGrid says Donegal is in line for extensive investment in this redevelopment, with several new projects required to address new renewable generation in the northwest region. Head of Public Engagement with EirGrid, Sinead Dooley, says the attendance at the roadshows and the level of engagement showed that the people of Donegal want to be part of a cleaner energy future in a way that can also benefit them. She says EirGrid will look at how extra grid capacity can support balanced regional development.
Irish Water staff are working to repair 4 burst water mains in the county. Irish Water say repairs may cause disruptions at Upper Drung, Quigley's Point and surrounding areas. A traffic management is in place for the works there. They're set to last until 4 o'clock this afternoon. A burst affecting Calhame, Boherl and surrounding areas in Letterkenny is expected to be resolved by midday. A burst main affecting much of Buncrana should be repaired by 1 o'clock, while a burst affecting Cranford, Carrigart and surrounding areas should be resolved by 4. Irish Water say it could take 2 to 3 hours in each instance for supplies to return to normal after the work is complete. Full details of the bursts on our website, highlandradio.com. And the government is set to extend the lower 9% VAT rate for the hospitality sector. The measure, introduced to help combat the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, was to have expired in August. The Finance Minister, Paschal Donohoe, is seeking Cabinet approval today to keep the lower rate, possibly until the end of this year. Well, Pádraig Cribben, Chief Executive of the Vintners Federation of Ireland, says they want to see it extended to the end of 2023.
Any extension is welcome. But I think it would be important to give certainty for the 2023 season. There are many businesses, coach tours, coach hire, that kind of stuff, who price out for the full year, and they're now fixing for next year. So while what is mooted is welcome, and bear in mind, until the Minister speaks, we don't know exactly what it is. We would like to see it extended to the end of 2023.
Weather forecast Madeira tell us it'll be blustery today with sunny spells and scattered showers. They'll be heavy at times. Highs of 13 or 14 degrees Celsius in moderate to fresh and gusty southwesterly winds. Those winds increasing strong at times in coastal areas. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notices for this Tuesday morning, the 10th of May. The death has occurred of Teresa Craig, 6 Swilly View, Inch Island. Teresa's remains will repose at her late residence from 11 o'clock this morning. Removal on Thursday morning at 10:15 to Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Inch, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Medical 4, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Kathleen Margaret Hume, née Baxter, 62 Berry Hill Road, Artagarvan. Kathleen's remains will arrive at Christchurch, Strabane this evening at 6:30. Service of thanksgiving for the life of Kathleen will take place there tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, followed by interment in Leckpatrick Parish Graveyard, Ballymagorry. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Christchurch, Strabane, care of Mr. Philip Smith, 71 Derry Road, Strabane. The death has taken place of David Cummings, Ballymore, Dunfanaghy, and formerly of Kent, England. His remains are reposing at his late residence, which is strictly private, please, at the request of the deceased. Funeral Mass in St Michael's Church, Creasla, tomorrow Wednesday at 12 noon, followed by burial in Doe Cemetery. Mass can be viewed on mcnmedia.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or James Harkin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Frankie Brennan, Magumna, Ardra, and formerly of Main Street, Ardra. Funeral from his home this morning at 11:30 to the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, for Requiem Mass at 12 noon, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral this morning. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Killybegs Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Tony O'Brien, Dromahal, Manor Cunningham. Funeral from his home this morning at 11:15, going to St Columba's Church, Dromahal, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only, please. And the death has taken place of Lily Arrow, Malin Road, Moville. Removal from her home this morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Pius X Church, Moville, followed by burial in Ballybrack Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Carndonagh Community Hospital, care of any family member. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
Okie doke, we're into the second hour of the 9 till noon show. You're very welcome back to this programme. Coming up shortly, Grania will be joining us to give us the very latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána. If you want to watch that, hop on to our social medias right now, or the website, highlandradio.com. You can watch it in the browser there, click through, or go straight to our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland, or either of our Facebook pages. And also later you'll be able to see and hear the American ambassador to Ireland. Obviously she's been here visiting, exploring her Donegal roots. We'll talk to her a little later on in the programme as well. Some of your comments ahead of the bingo numbers, and we were talking about breastfeeding. This caller says, I never see it discussed that a woman may consider their breasts as a sexual part of their anatomy and would find it very wrong to have anyone but their partner see, never mind be intimate with the part of their body. Personally, I would have been traumatised if that was the only way to feed a baby. Okay, but I would have, been raised around women all my life, and many of them did breastfeed, and I never saw them. I don't want to speak so direct, but I never saw them. It was never done out as such. It was a blanket used or certain types of tops or whatever. So there would have been breastfeeding going on in around us as we were growing up, and I never actually saw what was going on, if that makes sense. Another caller says, surely we should have equal parenting so far as possible with formula feeding. My partner was able to be the one to feed our baby for the very first time and share that role going forward. Okay, I understand that too, but obviously a lot of women that breastfeed would also express, and the partner can feed the mother's milk to the baby as well. But it's what suits everyone. I'm not making any judgment calls. Okay, sorry, the end of this text. Both of us have an extremely close bond with our daughter, and she's only once been slightly unwell in her 16 months. And that's very good news. Thank you. Hi, Greg. I fed all my children with bottles. I'm over 50. My mum also fed us with bottles. My mum told me that feeding us with a bottle gave her more freedom, and she came from a time where most women breastfed. I feel it is a personal choice and not to be made to feel guilty feeding with a bottle. Yes, but conversely, for it to be a personal choice, 100%, and I think that's the tone of that conversation. But also, though, it's to make sure that we are not being pushed down a certain road by companies that make an absolute fortune off this as well. I think if it's a personal choice, it should be a free choice, is the argument, and not one that is influenced by formula milk manufacturers. I think that's really the argument there. This caller says formula milk is specially made to have all vitamins and minerals. Breastfeeding mothers require eating healthy all the time and may favour fast food, may be an antidepressant, and smoke a lot. So thank God we can get quality formula milk. I think the woman's body is such, though, that regardless of the woman's diet to a certain extent, that the body is able then to still produce milk that the baby requires. In relation to the new meters being installed for upgrading our homes, does anyone know what happens if I refuse to get it? Do I later have to pay to have the meter installed? I've tried calling the service provider, but they couldn't answer it for me. These are the electricity meters, the smart meters. I don't know much about it, and I've said this before. I would take one tomorrow. I would love to know where my electricity is going. I would love to know if plugging certain things in is having an impact on the cost of electricity. I'd love to be able to make a calculated choice whether or not to put on, say, for instance, an electronic patio heater, but to know actually how much it costs. Something like that there. That's just an example I'm trying to pluck out of the sky. Personally, to me, I would love to have that little box in the corner of the room that told me how much electricity I was using, how much it was costing daily, and what was eating into my power. That would be me. But there seems to be a big resistance to the smart meters for electricity. And again, I'd love to hear from someone who could tell me why. What is the problem with them? I see resistance to them in certain amongst certain people, but I still don't fully know what's going on there. I've heard they're putting in a fibre network for better internet connection around Ramelton, and that's what the white vans are there for. Okay, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Good if you're in Ramelton. I was in Letterkenny Hospital on Monday from 1pm to 12:30am. People that did come in after me were called before me, and away home, an elderly woman was looking for help and no one was available. The bottom line is though, I hurt my back yesterday at the weekend, and if I had went into the hospital, I think anyone that went in with anything that potentially was broken or any bleeding or abdominal pain or head pain or a pain down the arm would all have been seen before me. I would have probably been sitting there for 12 hours because it's not first come, first served. They assess people on their need for care. And as I say, I imagine I'd have been sitting there a long time, with a bang compared to people that were presenting with something that could be much more serious. So maybe, I don't know what you were in for, and I'm not in any way trying to demean your experience. I just wonder, was that a factor? A caller says Letterkenny University Hospital may have done well in a paper-chasing exercise, but the hospital is a disgrace in its management. People waiting in the ED for hours upon hours, young and old. This is not a slight on the hard-working nurses and doctors, but wasn't it just amazing that after all the months of patients on trolleys, the day Leo Varadkar comes to town, guess what? There's no patients on trolleys. The hospital is farcical. The people that run it, they say. Could someone from the council come on and tell us why the traffic has been stopped at 7 in the morning, Ncbi door, and nothing happens till after 8 or later? Anyone with an insight into that? Morning, Greg. In relation to campsite prices, yes, the prices have gone up, and most of this is because a lot of owners jumped on the bandwagon with such a large increase of staycations last year. That man talked about replacing fencing, concrete, but these things are only replaced maybe every 10 years. It's a great way for holidays, for holidaying, especially for children. I hope they don't price families out. I think the general upkeep of a site is probably more than every 10 years. Obviously, he gave the example of a fence and the price of wood, but I'd imagine maintenance cost across the year would be reasonably significant. Greg, Greg got me wrong. I meant I wouldn't even want my baby toddler seeing or being close to that part of my body. Aha, I get you. Right, okay. I understood. So this is a woman who wouldn't want a baby or toddler near their boobs, and that's why it would discourage them. Okay, that's how you feel, and each of us are different. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Okie doke. We are going to take a break now for the bingo numbers. Good luck if you are playing today. I do hope you win, one of you win. Here are the numbers. Back with more. In fact, back with Garda Grania after these messages with Community Garda information.
It's time for Ncbi Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday the 10th of May. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S12. It's game number 19. The numbers are 84, 86, 62, 66, 65, 53, 90, 43, 54, and finally 89. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Ncbi Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Enjoy convenient travel to London, Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, the Algarve and Majorca. Visit cityofderryairport.com.
When your new smart meter arrives, it's going to change everything about how you use electricity. And Electric Ireland is ready to help you enjoy it all. From choosing your own billing date to saying goodbye to estimated bills and taking more control over your usage, you'll be able to make better energy choices for you and for Ireland. So the better it'll be for everyone. Search Electric Ireland smart meters today. Electric Ireland. We're brighter together.
Is your Skoda a little older? Pre-loved, perhaps? What adventures, I wonder, did it have in the past? Another family, another life, bright city lights, or a quiet country existence seeing Ireland's best sights? We don't really need your car's story. With a Skoda service, you get a complete vehicle health check, genuine Skoda parts, and free roadside assistance for 12 months.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
The O'Neill Sportswear Massive Warehouse Clearance Sale is back by popular demand. For one weekend only, County GA jerseys, leisure wear, including t-shirts, tracksuit bottoms, half-zips, hoodies and jackets, are all reduced to clear. Open from 9 a.m. Friday, May 20th and Sunday, May 22nd. The sale will take place at O'Neill's Sportswear Warehouse off the Melmount Road roundabout, Strabane.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. It is Tuesday morning, which means it's time now for the Community Garda information item. And we're joined in studio by Garda Grania Doherty from the Letterkenny Garda Station. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for joining us. Right, very sad news emerged yesterday evening that the collision near Carragart, or in Carragart, at the start of this month is now a fatal road traffic collision. How can the public help?
Yeah, as you said, an appeal was issued last week on our slot in relation to this collision, but the sad news filtered through yesterday that the 17-year-old female involved in the collision has since passed away, so our condolences to her family to start. We are continuing to appeal for witnesses in relation to this collision. Happened on Sunday the 1st of May at Mean Formal, Glen, Carragart. This collision involved a single car. It happened at approximately 9:15 p.m. So a female aged 17 years was taken to Letterkenny University Hospital with serious injuries. She was then transferred to the Beaumont Hospital, where she sadly passed away yesterday. Gardaí are appealing to anybody who may have witnessed the collision to contact them. Any road users who were travelling in that area around the time and who had a dash cam, we would be most appreciative if they would make that footage available to investigating Gardaí in Milford. Anybody with any information may contact Milford Garda Station on 9153060, or as always the Garda Confidential line on 1800 666 111.
And Gardaí in Milford investigating a burglary.
Yeah, so this burglary happened in the area of Culglass on the Kilmacrennan Road in Milford. Happened on Wednesday the 4th of May between 2:40 p.m. and 9:15 p.m. So entry was gained to a house in that area between those times. The house was ransacked. Now, unfortunately, in this instance, the door to the property had been left unsecured. It was unlocked. Nothing was stolen from the property. We appeal to residents in that area to contact us, contact Gardaí if they observed any sort of activity on that date, any sort of suspicious activity. If they could contact Gardaí in Milford on 9153060. If anybody has any information, relevant information to offer, they can contact, as always, again, the Garda Confidential line on 1800 666 111.
Now, we're all human and we're all rushing around the place, and we can tend to let our guards down a little bit. So I suppose no harm in reminding us of what we should be doing to best protect our property, Grania.
Yeah, and look, we urge, it goes without saying really, if you're leaving your home for any amount of time and it's going to be unoccupied, ensure that your windows are closed, they're secured, and that the doors are locked. I suppose, and as you said, we're all human. We all do it from time to time, possibly leave the door on the latch, go to the shop. But regardless of how long you're going to be away from your home, always ensure that your windows and doors are secured. Burglars generally don't target occupied properties, so give the impression that your home is occupied. Use timer switches, turn on a few lights if you are leaving your home for any period of time. Don't post up, and this is actually very relevant now this time of year in relation to upcoming holidays, trips. Don't post to social media, or while you're on holiday, maybe it's tempting to show off that you're there on the beach and you're living it up while they're all suffering at home, but don't post those pictures on social media. Always set your house alarm when leaving your home, and cash and jewellery remain the target as always, so please don't keep large amounts of cash at home. You should consider installing a certified safe if you have expensive jewellery. And always report any suspicious activity in your area to Gardaí immediately. Yeah,
and people might hear in the first instance your reference to social media, and it comes like as a spoil sport type of a comment, right? And they said, well, it's only my friends. I've heard this before. I only share, they're only close friends. But really, how many of us know who is on that friends list? Who did we add that maybe it was a fake profile? And they share this information out. There is a level of organisation that can go on. I'm not saying in all cases, but that people will check out social media. It's not just opportunistic stuff. And if they get the right indications, they'll say, right, that's a target. And you can go through someone's social media and very quickly find out specifically where the property is. So it's a genuine warning, because it can be used and abused, that information.
Yeah, and it's not even just a matter of who sees your picture or your post on Facebook or on whatever social media channel you use. I mean, word of mouth, I could see it on Facebook today. I could be talking to somebody in the town tomorrow and mention such and such is on their holiday. And through word of mouth, the word might get around also that your home is vacant.
Yeah, and in relation to giving the impression that your home... I'm a big fan of the smart plugs. They've got really reasonably quite cheap now. You can switch them on and off remotely. You can put them on timers as well. You can just command your whatever smart speaker you have or on your phone. And also you can get little lights that are quite easy to run that can generate the appearance of a TV being on in a front room. It all sounds a little bit drastic, but as you said, the key thing is here, burglars, very generally speaking, don't target occupied properties. So if they believe someone is there, it's a really, really good defence.
Yeah, and I also believe some of these video doorbells that you can, through your smartphone, that you can respond through your smartphone regardless of where you are, to give the impression that somebody's in the house as well. And just one other point on that as well. If anybody is going away on a holiday, just contact your local Garda station. Make them aware that your home's going to be vacant between certain dates, and Garda are aware of it then, and on their patrols they'll monitor the area. One
of the best purchases I made was it's a $24.99 camera which you can view remotely. It's for Hudson. HD, it's absolutely fantastic. It's motion tracking and absolutely everything. But also it has a feature, and it doesn't require a subscription, that it will, if you switch it on, if it recognises on any unusual movements, it takes a HD picture, dark or in daylight, and sends it to you. Now I switched it off because it's annoying, but from a security perspective, it doesn't cost a fortune. That camera's $24.99, and I'm astonished by the picture quality. You can access it absolutely anywhere, and it will instantly tell you if it detects motion, which I think is brilliant, and take a screenshot of it as well.
Yeah, some of these gadgets won't break the bank either.
Exactly. $24.99 it was. Brilliant stuff. And I have an old tablet, and I'll just use that as the monitor. And it's it's like a 10-inch tablet. It's fantastic stuff. And you can look at it on your Fire Stick and everything if you wanted to, up in the corner when you're watching the football.
And if you have in-laws at the door, you know whether to answer the door or not.
Exactly. It looks after in-laws and outlaws. Okay. Right. Okay. Back to the appeals. Road traffic collision on a Port Road in Letterkenny. How can the public help?
Yeah, this collision happened on Sunday, the 8th of May, between 8:50 p.m. and 9:10 p.m. So a red-coloured Lexus, a partial reg of that car is 03DL. It exited a car park quite near the Dry Arch roundabout there in Letterkenny, collided with a parked car. The driver of the Lexus didn't remain at the scene, but they travelled onwards on in the Port Road and towards Letterkenny town. The Lexus was later discovered by Gardaí on the Oliver Plunkett Road at 9:55 p.m, where it was believed to have been abandoned, and it was detained then by Gardaí. So firstly, we appealed to the driver of the Lexus to come forward to speak to Gardaí in relation to the incident. We appealed to all road users who had a dash cam who travelled on the Port Road between the Dry Arch roundabout to the Polestar roundabout between 8:45 p.m. and 9:15 p.m. to make that footage available to us. We also appeal to anybody who believes that they may have observed the car being parked up or abandoned on the Oliver Plunkett Road between 9:10 p.m. and 9:55 p.m. to contact us in Letterkenny on 074 91 67 100.
Okay, now another road-related incident, dangerous driving in Newtown Cunningham?
Yeah, so the Roads Policing Unit in Letterkenny are investigating this matter. So they're investigating a number of incidents of dangerous driving involving a black Toyota Corolla, again a partial reg of 06DL. This happened on Friday the 6th of May in around 11:15 p.m. On the N13, so in the townland of Killyvery there at Newton Cunningham. Then it travelled onwards towards Galden Across and onwards again on the N14 towards Clifford town. So we appeal to road users who had a dash cam who travelled in any of those areas on Friday night around that time to make the footage available to us in Letterkenny, or if anybody has any information that might assist with this investigation, if they believe they may have observed this vehicle on the road, we ask them to contact the Roads Policing Unit in Letterkenny on 9167 100.
Okay, now criminal damage by fire.
Yeah, Letterkenny Gardaí are investigating the circumstances surrounding a fire at a home in Oaklands Park, Letterkenny. This occurred on Saturday the 7th of May in around between 1:35 p.m. and 1:55 p.m. So the fire service attended the scene and Gardaí were alerted. We appealed to other residents in that area to contact Gardaí in Letterkenny if they observed anything in that area that they believe might be beneficial to our investigation. And as with all our appeals again, the Garda Confidential line may be reached on 1800 666 111.
Okay, now mentioning motorcycle safety, of course, the weather's improved. We're heading into the summer, so I think we are seeing more motorcycles out on the road. So a timely reminder once again, Grania.
Yeah, and again, we've had a number of fatal collisions in recent times involving motorcycles, and as you said, coming into the summer months now, we're going to see an increase on these motorbikes on the road. So We're just urging all drivers to remain alert, always keep an eye out, be on the lookout for motorcyclists, and drivers should expect to encounter more cyclists on the roads, over the summer period. So motorcyclists have less protection in the event of a crash, and they're much more vulnerable. A main factor involving a motorcyclist and a driver, collisions involving a motorcyclist and a driver, is when a car or a van turns or drives through a junction, or when they join a main road from a minor road, and they fail to observe and they end up colliding them with the motorcyclist. So therefore it's critical drivers look out for motorcyclists, especially at junctions, at intersections, when turning onto a main road and when changing lanes also. Always keep an eye out in your mirror and keep alert. So in relation to the motorcyclists themselves, they need to have a healthy respect for the motorcycle they're riding and a socially responsible attitude when using the roads. Motorcyclists should show restraint by reducing their speed. They should never ride a motorcycle, this should go without saying again, under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Motorcyclists are reminded to wear the appropriate PPE, the personal protective equipment, and to use dipped headlights also. This will increase their visibility when out on the road. So we spoke about this before, the Bike Safe programme. I'm just going to remind people about it because they can still apply to join that. So in June 21, the Guards and the RSA launched the Bike Safe. It was a pilot safety initiative at Dublin Castle. So they offered a workshop on topics such as hazard awareness, and they got an on-the-road assessment ride. They were accompanied by an advanced guard of motorcyclists. These workshops are open to all motorcyclists who hold a full motorcycle driving licence, and they're free of charge. So that pilot scheme was a massive success, so it's going ahead again. This initiative will be provided again by the Roads Policing Division at Dublin Castle this year over the summer months. By taking part in this programme or similar programmes, you can increase your ability and confidence as a motorcyclist. This scheme will be beneficial to experienced motorcyclists, those perhaps who have, they haven't been on their bike in a few years and want to get back on the road, or in particular maybe to those who have recently passed their test. It will just give them that extra bit of confidence that they need. So anybody who's interested in joining the Bike Safe programme, they can look up our Garda website, www.garda.ie. There's a lot more information on the programme on there. They can also submit their application online through that website. Or if they wish to email bikesafe@garda.ie, they'll answer any queries that they have in relation to it also.
Okay, I'm not sure if they do, but if they don't, they possibly should. Insurance companies maybe give a discount to motorcyclists that have gone through that programme, because obviously they're going to, you'd hope, be less likely to have a crash. But anyway, Grania, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. That's Garda Grania Doherty of the Letterkenny Garda Station, and you'll be able to watch that back if you wish on our Facebook and on the Garda Síochána Facebook a little later on today, possibly around 6. Around about 1 o'clock, I assure you, Grania.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, because I have to edit it. All right, Grania's colleague will be back with you next Tuesday morning after the 10 o'clock news with another edition of Community Garda Information. We'll be back with more on the programme after this break. Stay right where you are.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Pre-book your airport parking, fast track and lounge access at cityofderryairport.com for a stress-free start to your trip.
So you're struggling with your mobile connection?
Yes, I've tried everything.
Have you tried walking in a circle, standing on a chair, shouting instead of speaking?
This is ridiculous.
Best I can do for you, I'm afraid.
Let me be your hero.
Fear not, Super Helpful Mobile has got you covered. With 99% coverage, staying connected has never been easier when you join Tesco Mobile. This is Supermarket Mobile. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps. 99% population coverage. Visit tescomobile.ie/service-information.
Treat your garden to a makeover at GMG Stone Letterkenny. We offer great value on decorative stone, garden paving, slabs and artificial grass. All tailored to your needs with home delivery available. We also supply railway sleepers, whiskey barrels and place sand, all available for pickup or delivery. Open Monday to Saturday from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. You will find us beside Donaghy Motorhomes on the Port Road. For an appointment, call 087 647 9121. GMG Stone, just what your garden needs.
The hilarious Three Hail Marys is coming to Letterkenny.
Mary, how are we going to keep in touch? I know, Mary, I know. Send me a twit.
See Three Hail Marys at Ungrainon Theatre Letterkenny for one night only, Friday, May 13th. See ungrainon.com or call 074 9120777.
Great news! Fares across the Transport for Ireland network have been reduced, which means travelling with TFI Local Link will cost up to 20% less. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Okay, caller says, Greg, on the Drumkeen side of Carrow Valley Forest, there are workers replacing comms cables at the side of the road. They've left the old cables in the hedge forest. This area sees enough rubbish dumped by people already, with a company dumping cable wire that they should probably charge to remove or dispose of correctly. We'll check into that. I imagine maybe they've left it there for collection at a later date to give the benefit of the doubt, but we can chase it up and see what the story is there. More BS about wind turbines, says this caller. The more turbines on the grid, the more gas is used. It's business as usual. There's nothing clean or green about digging up peat bogs in Donegal. We need the land more than EirGrid, etc. need the subsidies. EirGrid will say anything to keep making money. Degrowth is the only thing that will save the planet at this stage. They believe I'm broadcasting lies. Come May 17th, there will be a raft of new planning applications for turbines in Donegal. It doesn't make environmental sense. It seems to be at odds too with what Eamon Ryan said on this programme, in that he said that he believes Donegal had reached its capacity in terms of on-land wind turbines. They said that a year or two ago in this very studio. Greg, why are the doctor's surgeries not back to regular visits? It seems to me that they're making more money on short phone calls rather than having people visit at normal. Everywhere else has at least begun to return to normal. Why not there? I'm not sure. You see, the thing about that, it's not like when you talk about a hospital and it's the one hospital and we know what's going on. GP surgeries are different. I think every GP might have a different attitude and have a different way of doing it. So it's not really right across the board that GPs are operating like that. It might just be your GP. Maybe you could ring them and see, look, is this how it's going to be for the foreseeable, or what's the story? But I take your point. Greg, my son lives in Dublin and was looking at booking.com, and it's costing a fortune. I ran the hotel direct and got a great deal. My son couldn't believe it. Well, there you go. And is it nice to be able to help them out in that regard now and again too? Right, let's take a break from music. Back with more, including the US ambassador to Ireland between now and 12. After this, from Barry White.
We got it together, didn't we?
Okay, there he is. That's the sound of Barry White. My first, my last, my everything. Okay, we mentioned earlier on that there were spaces remaining for our Andre Rio trip. They are all gone, by the way. So if you were interested in that, unfortunately you missed out. 3 people did call in and are going to see Andre Rio, which is nice for them, isn't it? Right, okay, thanks for that, by the way, that information on that. 086 60 25 000, that's your WhatsApp, that's your text number, 086 60 25 000, or give us a call on 074 91 25 000. By the way, if you want to email the programme, if you don't want to try and pack it all into a text, you can email comments at highlandradio.com. Loads to come on the programme between now and 12. We want you to stay with us and enjoy it and get involved. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
The 9 till noon show with the City of Derry Airport, Algarve and Majorca summer holidays from the City of Derry Airport. Free childcare places available for ages 2 to 11. Visit cityofderryairport.com.
Hey.
You're doing great.
Everyone needs a boost sometimes.
Is it time for yours?
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness in people who are high risk and in those who aren't.
So even if you've already had COVID-19, your booster vaccine can protect you from getting it again.
And make your symptoms less severe if you do.
Everyone aged 12 and over can now get a booster vaccine.
Check if it's time for your booster and make an appointment on hse.ie.
For us all, from the HSE.
Breaking gardening news. Our correspondent Petunia at Alcorn's Garden Centre.
I am surrounded by an array of spectacular summer bedding. These beauties are moving fast with last year's prices held. Wow! I'm amazed by the choice of shrubs, trees, roses and perennials. Ah, Rosemary has just selected a super specimen plant and trendy ceramic pot. Oh, Craig is advising on the many baskets. Buy from Alcorns, where value happens every day.
There's more than me coming back to the Mountaintop Letterkenny. This month, Rest Takes Beds have just opened their brand new showroom. And if you're like me and you really appreciate a good night's sleep, these guys have brilliant ranges of beds and mattresses, and they have some great offers too. Call in and check out their new showroom, now open just beside us here at the Mountaintop in Letterkenny.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Enjoy stress-free travel this summer with Ryanair's brand new services to Birmingham, Edinburgh and Manchester. Ireland West Airport. You're flying.
Okay, so the weather forecast for today is as follows. It will be a blustery day today with sunny spells and scattered showers, turning heavy at times. Temperatures of 13 to 14 degrees in moderate to fresh and gusty southwesterly winds, increasing strong at times near coast. So that's the weather for now. But a big conversation, of course, on the weather globally and for the years ahead. And, of course, you know, we can argue back and forward as it relates to alternative energy sources and what have you. But what we're doing isn't currently working, because we read that the likelihood of world temperatures rising hitting the critical 1.5 Celsius of warning within the next 5 years is now, we're told, a 50-50, and it's increasing. The World Meteorological Organization issues the warning in a climate update to be published today. Scientists say 1.5 Celsius of warming is a key threshold in the attempt to keep temperature rise and climate change from escalating out of control. The Paris Agreement is based on international acceptance that global temperature rise must be kept below 2 degrees and as close to 1.5 as possible. The chances of exceeding 1.5 have risen rapidly since 2015, when the Paris Agreement was signed. For the period 2017 to 2021, there was a 10% chance. So the new prediction of a 50% chance for 2021 to 2026 is a cause for concern. Is it something that worries you? I mean, I don't think it's something, this is quite naive, right? Depending on how long each of us individually have left, that maybe might have a devastating impact on me. Like, things would have to happen really, really quite quickly. But, you know, our young children and our children's children, I think there's, is there any doubt that this is going to be something that they're going to have to contend with? Right, Mick Clifford, special correspondent at the Irish Examiner, and he joins us on the programme now. Mick, thanks so much for taking the call this morning.
No problem, Greg.
Right, now it's based off the story. On Board Planala, the Deputy Chair is to step back from his duties as audits continue. So can you give us the background to this case, Mick, and how it came to public light?
Yes, Deputy Chairman is a man named Paul Hyde. He was appointed in 2014 by then Minister for Environment, Phil Hogan. In 2019, he was appointed the chair of the subdivision that dealt with strategic housing developments. Now, not getting too technical, Greg, but that's basically a very controversial system whereby people applying for housing developments of more than 100 units could go directly to Board Planola rather than initially applying for permission through local authorities. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, well, maybe about over 3 weeks ago now, first appeared in the Ditch online media, it's an online media resource, that there were allegations that he had conflicts of interest in some of the decisions he made which he had not declared. The initial allegation concerned a development in Blackpool and Cork City for 140 apartments. He sat on the board making the decision. He chaired the three-person board and it was rejected. What emerged afterwards is that a company he owns with his father owned a site 50 metres away from the site for the application. Now, an issue arises as to whether or not he should have declared that, because potentially it would be a conflict of interest, as in, for example, if that was turned down, does it make the site that he owns more lucrative or whatever, and that kind of thing. He responded to that within a week or so after it initially, or may have been sooner now, but it publicly became known after it was initially published. And he said he didn't have a conflict of interest because the company that owns the site is dormant and it has a zero balance sheet. Whether or not that is sustainable will be dependent on inquiry that's going on into these issues. There was a second allegation involving a sister-in-law who appealed a planning decision, I think it was at her residence in Sandymount in Dublin. Again, he was on the board that decided that, and there's a suggestion surely that was a conflict of interest. He responded to the board in relation to that, saying that he was unaware that the property involved belonged to his sister-in-law, despite the fact that the address would routinely be on the application. So he said again, as far as he was concerned, he was unaware, and therefore if there was a conflict of interest, he was unaware of that conflict. Now, there are a number of other allegations that have been made. He has not responded to any of those yet, and those will form part of the inquiry to be conducted by Senior Counsel Remy Farrell. He was appointed by the Minister for Housing, Darragh O'Brien, when a number of these issues came to light. And the terms of reference for that inquiry, the Minister is due to announce them, I think, in the next day or so.
And I mean, I'm not making any judgment on any outcome or what's gone before, but it did remind me of the old saying, sort of, when you're explaining, you're losing.
You could say that. I mean, you know, let me put it this way to you. The whole affair has shone a light on Board Planola like never before. Now, Greg, for most people who perhaps never come into contact with the board, you know, it's very little known about it. But you will know, even, for example, there have been a number of energy developments in Donegal involving wind farms that have been objected to by communities, as in other places around the country. People who get involved in those kind of campaigns, they become familiar with Board Planola, and very often there's a suggestion that it's a kind of an unanswerable power. So this kind of spotlight is very unusual on them, and you'll have to wait and see whether it illuminates the way it works to a greater extent than has been the case before now.
Yeah, and just as it relates to how this came to pass, you mentioned it being published online. The checks and balances within On Board Planola themselves didn't pick this up. This was information from outside the planning authority, was it?
It was, and that's a very good point, because, as I say, there are a number of allegations about potential conflicts of interest, and none of those were picked up. Now, it has to be said, when the initial allegation, the one I referenced in Cork City, when that first came to light, sometime after that, within days, I think, the board decided to review decisions that Mr. Hyde had been involved in. So quite obviously at that point they decided there must be something. But as you say, it would certainly appear that none of these issues were known to the board, the wider board, rather than Mr. Hyde himself, if he was aware of them. As I say, in terms of his sister-in-law claims, he wasn't aware of it, and so therefore that wasn't picked up. The board, Greg, it consists of 9 people. They're appointed by the minister. There is very little transparency about the manner in which they're appointed, and they're full-time jobs. I mean, for example, the chair earns, I think, is 204,000. The deputy chair, Mr. Hyde, is 144, and then 127,000 for ordinary members. So they're very good jobs, and the reason they're there, apart from appeals, is to implement national planning policy, and that can be very controversial, particularly when, for example, I mentioned wind farms. You can have a scenario, and there's one currently before the courts in relation to an issue in West Cork. You can have a scenario whereby there's a proposal for, let's say, a wind farm. The community might be against it. The council might say it shouldn't go ahead. The elected members of the council might be against it. The inspector for Board Planola might say it shouldn't go ahead. Yes, despite that, and this is not uncommon, the 3 board members who would make up a decision body could decide that despite all of that, it's in accordance with national policy that it does go ahead. So that's just an example of the kind of power that these individuals have. And as I say, despite a review of the way it worked a few years ago, there is still not much transparency about how people are appointed to it.
Yeah, and Mick, you quite rightly pointed out the situation here in Donegal, and I know there's people listening to this without drawing any suggestion of a conclusion to this investigation or this analysis that will say, we've been telling you this for years, you know. And that's what stories like this do. A lot of the people invest an awful lot of time, for very good reasons often, in objecting to something or expressing their concern, and already had a lack of faith in the system. This is only going to throw fuel on the flames in the communities that are affected by this and the individuals.
That's very true. Now, just in terms of, as opposed to that, it should be said, there is no reason to think that any individuals who are making decisions in terms of their brief, in terms of following national planning policy, are not doing so in very good faith. However,
but it just raises the questions whether and the point you mentioned too, and I can think of 3 or 4 really controversial developments where the inspector on site made one recommendation and the actual decision itself was at odds to that from people who never were on site. And I've read through in the past some of the reasoning and it didn't make a great deal of sense to me. And as I say, even if some of it's justified and some of it's not, it's going to raise the questions. And is this open? Does this leave, as I say, this is an investigation that's ongoing. We don't know what the outcome of that might be. But does this mean Bord Pleanála is going to have to look at how it operates?
Well, you would think so. And I mean, the point you make is well made, Greg. The issue about people wondering when they see something like this going on, because the power they have is so great, and because it affects so many people's lives in a very direct manner, it's vital, therefore, that there's public confidence in the operation of the board. And as you said, particularly communities have been affected about it. Perhaps they don't have confidence. But it's vital that in broad terms there's public confidence. And then when issues like this arise, it's inevitable on some level that it's going to affect that confidence.
And Mick, lastly, how quickly did ABP move on this? Mr. Hyde was still making decisions up until relatively recently. Was there any resistance that you can determine from Bord Pleanála to act on these concerns?
To be fair, no. Let me put it this way to you. I mean, I was in touch with them after the initial allegations, and the response I got was, I'm paraphrasing slightly, but it was, we've no comment for now. So quite obviously, as far as they were concerned, it was a fluid situation. Mm-hmm. It's now I think it's about 3 weeks since the first allegation surfaced. Okay. They did initiate the internal inquiry fairly quickly, but this, perhaps because the allegations kept coming, at this point now it's been decided by Mr. Hyde that he'll step back temporarily, as he says, while some of these investigations are ongoing.
All right, Mick, listen, loads of detail there. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed.
No problem, Greg.
All right,
you.
take care. Mick Clifford there. He's special correspondent at the Irish Examiner, referencing the ongoing situation there with On Board Planala, 08660 25,000. Talking about state bodies, reading on the front of the paper today, a state agency funded an angling club that did not exist. Okay. It had a fleet of uninsured vehicles on the road and leased a lavish historic home to an employee without any financial records, a whistleblower has claimed. The Irish Daily Mail has obtained a dossier of claims by a board member of Inland Fisheries Ireland that was sent to Environment Minister Eamon Ryan last week. The board member claimed that there was an acceptance last year that protection crews in certain coastal areas did not do any work. This, they say, resulted in the need to, and I'll just turn inside, mobilise a mobile response unit at considerable cost. Mr Ryan has appointed a barrister to review the IFI after the dossier indicated to the Minister that the function of the Inland Fisheries Ireland are not being performed in an effective manner. The allegations include the leasing of a 9-bedroomed Victoria home, that's Ashley Lodge, which overlooks Killary Harbour in County Mayo, to a staff member who turned it into a guest house. In the Shannon on Thursday, former Minister of State at the Department of the Environment, Sean Kine, whose previous remit covered the IFI, said there was no transparency surrounding the lease arrangement. There's been locally arranged leasing of Ashley Lodge, which was an IFI project, to a staff member as a guest house with no transparency process or financial accounts, he said. In a parliamentary question in May 2018, Mr Kine, then Minister of State at the Department of the Environment, said the department agreed with the IFI's intention to sell the property at the time. However, this did not happen. Last year, the lease was put in place and the property was advertised as a guest house on several rental websites. That is hard to believe, isn't it? But it is true. Okay, we'll be joined in the next hour discussing a number of issues. We'll be joined by a number of guests. We're going to be talking about the Donegal Hospice and the work that they do. We've a number of guests in studio to discuss that. A little later on then, we'll be joined by the United States Ambassador to Ireland to discuss her visit to her home, effectively, and retracing her grandparents' steps and what she sees with her new role and the relationships between Ireland and the US. All of that and so much more besides coming up for you after the news at 11, to which we head towards now.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Enjoy convenient travel to London, Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, the Algarve and Majorca. Visit cityofderryairport.com.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €215 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
At Lidl, we do things every day to make life better for us all. Things like being the first retailer to work with farmers on a sustainable beef programme to improve environmental impact. Donating over 600,000 meals in the last year through our partnership with Food Cloud. And helping bees by doubling our number of pollinator-friendly stores in 2022. Decision by decision, day by day, we're taking Lidl steps to a better tomorrow. Join us on our journey today at lidlsteps.ie. Lidl, more for you.
Right now, you can get Sky TV and broadband with Netflix at no extra cost, all for €55 a month. Must be worth a conversation, son. Yep, Netflix is on us. Shall we dance? With Sky, you get the best entertainment all in one place. So get Sky TV and broadband with Netflix at no extra cost, all for €55 a month. What are you waiting for? Search Sky 55. Availability subject to location. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more information, see sky.ie/speeds.
This Wednesday the 11th, Around the Northwest is live from the open day at Donegal ETB's newest further education and training centre on the Port Road, Letterkenny. The open day is a chance to call in and see the new centre, have a look at their state-of-the-art teaching and learning facilities, meet the staff and find out about the range of FET courses on offer. Find out more, listen in from 12 this Wednesday on Around the Northwest.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. It's time for a news update, and we say good morning now to Donald Kavanagh. Good morning, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. A teenage girl injured in a road collision near Corrigart on Sunday, May 1st, has died. The 17-year-old passed away last evening at Beaumont Hospital in Dublin. Gardaí are again appealing for witnesses to the single-car collision to come forward. It happened at Mean Formal Glen at approximately 9:15 that night. Bryson Recycling has been awarded a new 3-year contract to continue managing the 6 recycling centres in the county by Donegal County Council. Bryson first won the contract in 2012. The council says a number of improvements have been introduced across the county as part of the new contract, including longer opening hours, and this, they say, has led to the creation of 5 new jobs. Gardaí are urging people to review their home security and take steps to secure their property. It follows a burglary at Cool Glass, Kilmacrennan Road, Milford, on Wednesday of last week. Gardaí say between 20 to 3 that afternoon and 9:15 that night, entry was gained to the house via the front door, which was unlocked. Nothing was taken. Milford Gardaí are urging anyone who saw anything suspicious in the area to make contact with them. They also say anyone who notices any suspicious activity in their area at any time should make contact with Gardaí, and they say people should ensure that they protect their property as much as possible. An emergency housing meeting is taking place today in the Glenties Municipal District as homelessness increases across the northwest. There are renewed calls for vacant properties to be brought back into use. 100 new jobs have been announced for the northwest. Medical devices firm Arrowtech is expanding its headquarters in Sligo Town. And its emerged Irish households are paying around €250 more for electricity than our European neighbours. New Eurostat figures compiled before the war in Ukraine show electricity prices here were already 26% higher than the EU average, and it's not down to tax. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Okay, Donald, thank you very much for that.
Flowgas now offer 100% green electricity. It feels good to know that as I cut my grass here, the power's coming from 100% renewable sources. Also, good to know that Flowgas plant 1 tree for every person that makes the switch. And the cherry on top, you can get a welcome bonus worth up to €220. I put the savings towards this fancy new electrical lawnmower. Hey, how's she cutting? Not bad. Not bad at all. The grass is definitely greener on the Flowgas side. See for yourself.
Terms and conditions apply. Switch to Flowgas at flowgas.ie to view our great range of offers or call us on 1800 200 052.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme, and we welcome into studio our 2 guests now. Catherine Regan, Director of Nursing at the Donegal Hospice and Palliative Care Services. Good morning to you. Catherine, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Greg.
It's good to have you with us. And also consultant Dr. Jessica Sui. It's lovely to have you with us, Doctor.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you very much indeed. 20 years next year, isn't it, since the establishment of the hospice, and of course planning before that, Catherine. Is that hard to believe? It's 20 years
20
ago,
years,
or
yeah,
has it
February.
flown? Or
Yeah, well, I'm only new here, Greg, but the staff down there can't believe it's 20 years. Absolutely, it has flown by. And a very successful 20 years.
Yeah, and this is one of those projects that was sort of born of the community and sort of the drive and the vision of a relatively small number of individuals right from the get-go.
Yes, that's right. And they had the vision and the foresight to see what it could be, and came about from a group of locals who got together and saw the need for palliative care and drove forward, and the community itself that fundraises and keeps the momentum going is what makes it so successful.
Yes, and it's one of those things, isn't it? It's there for people at the most difficult time, and you know, people generally come from it. That the very difficult time they've went through has been made somewhat easier, and I think that's why then people are so generous in either themselves getting involved in fundraising or contributing to a fundraiser, because they often see firsthand the work of the Donegal Hospice.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. Unfortunately, there aren't too many people that aren't touched by either cancer or life-limiting illness in some of their loved ones. So a lot of people have crossed the path of palliative care in Donegal Hospice, and they want to give back, which is fabulous, to the service that they thankfully have used and found a great help to them in their most desperate times.
Dr. Swee, I mean, there's many areas of healthcare that one could work in. Why did you choose this path in your career?
Palliative care, it's the specialty of my choice because I kind of feel I provide holistic care to my patients and family. So palliative care encompasses not just physical care, but looking at the whole picture, psychosocial, spiritual care, to make sure that patients live well as long as they could.
Yeah, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of, it's very different, say, for instance, from a sudden death.
Yes, absolutely. To do palliative care, I think you have to be emotionally quite strong for it, and to be able to, to say when you're working, you work, but when you're out of work, just try to forget about your work.
Yeah, and it's in it. We're all individuals, and particularly I think that applies to all care, but particularly with palliative care services. And every effort is made, isn't it, to, I suppose, tailor the service to each individual. Is that a...
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if Catherine, do you want to add anything?
Yeah. So, we have a range of services within Donegal Hospice. So when you come under our service, you have the obviously the consultants and our other doctors, and we have our social worker, our occupational therapist and our physiotherapist. So we hope to cater for all your physical needs, but also we have our, holistic care, and we look after your spiritual and your mindfulness. And then if you're an inpatient, we like to try our best to fulfill any wishes that you may have, whether that's a special meal or a movie night with your family or, just quiet time with your loved ones. We try to fulfill everyone's needs, tailored to their needs.
Yeah. And you mentioned loved ones and family. That's an important part of all of this too, isn't it?
It's a big part. Palliative care isn't about the patient, it's about the families and the loved ones as well, Greg. Yeah. We look after them as well because they are the ones who are going to be left behind. So we need to be able to be assured that they are strong and mentally cared for.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Greg, just to add on to what Catherine has said, it's not just providing care to patients and family in the Donegal Hospice, but also in community. Some patients would tell us that they don't want to die in the hospice, they want to die at home, so we'll do our best to support that.
Yeah, okay. And I don't worry about jumping in, Dr. Swee, because I get the impression Catherine will appreciate every moment you do so.
Yes, my poor voice.
So if you want to do the heavy lifting, Doctor, I don't think Catherine will be complaining. You're doing very well, Catherine, of course, though.
Thank you.
Especially with there's nothing worse than the frog in the throat. Yeah. How has services changed over the last while at the hospice in terms of staffing and what you're able to do in that regard?
Yes, so myself and Dr. Swee and Dr. Fountain, who couldn't be here today, started in September and November. And so Donegal Hospice had unfortunately been downgraded to a level 2 service because they were waiting on the appointments of consultants. So that has happened, and it is now back upgraded to a level 3 service. So we are providing clinical governance for all our patients in palliative care, and as Dr. Swee said, in the hospice and in the community in their own homes. And also we have an arm in the hospital as well, where Dr. Swee and Dr. Fountain provide, support and guidance to their colleagues there.
Yeah, Dr. Swee, how long have you been with the Donegal Hospice now?
Since September last year.
Yeah, so, I mean, your skill set would have been in high demand. I presume you could have pick and choose wherever you wanted to work. I don't know if you were already living in the Northwest or what your connections are to here, but really the question I'm asking is why then did you choose to come up to the beautiful Northwest of Ireland?
So I trained as a junior doctor in Ireland before I moved to the UK to do my specialist training. So I've known the geography of Ireland in some details. And I know in Donegal they need somebody to improve the service of palliative care. for me, I'm kind of, with my training, I'm ready to take up the challenge. Hence, I applied for the job.
Yeah, but you saw enough there to say, this is a good spot, and I can add to this. I can grow as a person, and I can grow the services and the offering for people.
Yes, not just for the people of, not just for people in Donegal, but also to support the staff in overall, with care, knowledge and skills.
Is it rewarding job?
Oh yes, I'm sure Catherine would agree with me.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding job.
Because everything would indicate that it really shouldn't be.
Yes.
And also, I've had loved ones there as well, so I can say this without hopefully getting too much aggro on the text, is that even in the moment when you're losing someone or it's happening, you can still find space to say that this is nice, or what's happened feels right, or this is positive, which kind of feels like it shouldn't be that way during that process, but the hospice affords that, I think.
Yeah, it's a great honour to be with people as they leave this world, and to be a part of that, and to make it better, and to make it a good experience, because death can be a nice experience, if it's in the right environment and it's done well, and it's good for the patient as well.
And as Dr. Swee, you recognise the hospice is not going to be this setting for everyone. Supports are then offered where possible, if it's in someone's home or whatever it might be. Obviously, you can draw on, because you mentioned working in Britain, you can draw on sort of an international sense. Is this is not unique to here? Is it this type of care and how we do it? Is it, or how does it vary in your experience?
I think palliative care across Ireland and UK very much the same.
Very similar. Okay.
Very similar. But what we have an advantage here is we have great support by the people of Donegal and the board, the hospice board, ever so willing to support what we need.
Yeah.
And to support the patient's needs.
Did it surprise you how significant the funding from the community is for the likes of the Donegal Hospice? I mean, obviously you would have done your research, but did it surprise you that it's held in such high regard and so heavily supported?
It didn't surprise me that it was held in such high regard. But
I forget that you're recently in the position as well. So.
Yes, only since September, Greg. So, but the phenomenal support is what's the continuing surprising. People are just constantly supporting fundraisers and giving back, and even in their time of grief, they are always thinking about what can we do to give back, which is absolutely amazing.
But with that comes a great responsibility, doesn't it, to maintain that and to reward that generosity with a level of service and with ambitions and plans. I mean, you can't stand still.
No. So there is plans to build on a new 4-bedroomed apartment. So we have 6 rooms in Donegal Hospice and 2 apartments. So we're going to, the board is going to use that money that has been fundraised, and they're going to build on 4 apartments. So that will allow families to live together, if that's what they wish to do, in Donegal Hospice, in a bigger room and in a more normal environment, if you want to call it like that. And that's hopefully starting very soon, and that will be absolutely amazing for the people of Donegal. And
that's already been fundraised for, hasn't it? The money's there and the planning's there. Yeah.
And planning, and we're working currently with HSE Estates, who've also been very supportive. But I have to say, the board and the people of Donegal who have give back the money will hopefully very soon see the fruits of that with that new build.
Yeah, and of course you want people to continue to be generous as well, obviously, because that's an important element of it.
Yeah, and it is an important element, because unfortunately the hospices aren't funded as well by government, perhaps as they should be, because there's a lot of money that needs to go into different aspects. There's a lot more than palliative care, I suppose. Yeah. So the funding is always very well utilised, and it gives back. It gives a little bit extra to the patient.
Dr. Sweet, did you want to come in there, sorry?
Oh yes, I just kind of wanted to say, in addition to what Catherine mentioned earlier on regarding the extension of 4 apartments, we are hoping that once we get enough staff, that we will be providing 7-day service in community and in the hospital.
Yeah.
So that's really mainly to prevent admissions, unnecessary admissions to emergency departments.
Which, of course, is good for the patient and their family, but that's also obviously takes a little bit of pressure from an acute hospital situation as well, which is we want these things and need these things to work hand in glove, don't we?
Yeah.
Dr. Swee, where else do you see services going into the future, or what would you like to see?
I would like to see that, I would like to collaborate further with the primary care GPs especially to see what we can do to keep patients at home. And secondly, to work with the National Ambulance Service in recognizing dying patients and questioning if it's appropriate to transfer them to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of work to do, but that's the next plan.
But again, that's another thing that feeds into a better running health service, but primarily, of course, presumably, better situation for patients and families. Yeah, would you concur with that, Catherine?
Yeah, exactly. And recognising that, and hopefully with more staff and going to a 7-day service, which we hope to do, in the next couple of months. Greg.
What's that reliant on, Catherine? Sorry, is it finding the staff?
It's finding the staff. Yeah. It's finding the staff. So I suppose initially it was set up to run 5 days, which it does Monday to Friday. We have a fabulous relationship with our public health nurses. So they, essentially take over at weekends and look after and care for our patients. We do have a phone service, a 24-hour phone service, but it's the PHNs that go in at the weekend. So we hope to be able to deliver that service ourselves over the 7 days, and then hopefully, as Jessica said, prevent the unnecessary admissions to ED for symptom management that we can take in and help people with their symptoms. And we can also discharge again. The hospice isn't about coming in and you stay there. You can come in for your symptom control, get that under control, and go back home and live another length of time relatively well.
Yeah.
And it prevents the overrun hospitals and the long stays in ED, which we all know, are a national problem.
Yeah.
So, that's a piece of work that we're looking at as well, preventing the unnecessary hospital admissions.
I presume, and this is I presume with even more resources, much more of this work could be done. And much more pressure could be taken off. Because we're talking in the context of the space that you provide or you have available to you. But if this were scaled up, if that were the will of the government or the health minister, presumably, it could work even better in achieving all the goals that you believe could be achieved.
Yeah, and the government is looking at that, and there are national groups, palliative care groups nationally, that are looking at that. And we have been very lucky. Actually, we just got confirmation a few weeks ago that we have been given another clinical nurse specialist to work in our community. The government's going to fund that for Donegal. And we have been given the remit to look at our strategy plan for Donegal and see what we need, and that the HSC will work with us to build on that service and add more staff to provide that care.
Dr. Swee, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I just want to thank the people, for supporting us all this while, and we will work hard for the people of Donegal.
Yeah. Okay, Catherine.
And just reiterate, thank the people of Donegal, but also I, want to thank the staff that have kept Donegal Hospice open and going for the last 20 years. The clinical staff and the fundraising and the board, Isabel and Grace, and the people who are very supportive to us since we came, and the nurses and doctors there who have been very welcoming to us and really, really supportive, and we're thoroughly enjoying our time here.
And he's both nice and settled in now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Enjoying it.
Lovely stuff.
Enjoying it, Craig. Thank you.
Okay, listen, it's been lovely speaking to both of you. That was Catherine Regan, Director of Nursing at the Donegal Hospice and Palliative Care, and Consultant Dr. Jessica Swee. Both of you, thank you so very much indeed. It's been lovely having you on the programme. And we'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show after we take this break.
The 9 till noon show with the City of Derry Airport, Algarve and Majorca summer holidays from the City of Derry Airport. Free childcare places available for ages 2 to 11. Visit cityofderryairport.com.
Sun soak for less this summer with TUI. Savings on holidays in May and June. Holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy.
Harry Jack's Diner, Strabane. American-style diner, ice cream parlor, and takeaway. Opening soon at Market Square, Strabane. For the real diner experience, it will have to be Harry Jack's.
They say you should have your second baby first, because with your second baby, you'll have learned what to do, what not to do, what's best for baby and best for you. Like the Loopy Loo range from Lidl. Everything your baby needs, including award-winning nappies from only 99 cent. When you know what to do, Loopy Loo. Available exclusively at Lidl. More for you. See our full range at lidl.ie/Loopy Loo.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why.
The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €215 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Hey,
11 years, Sarah. 11 years.
Oh my God, is everything okay?
It's all off.
You and Paul?
No, my bank. We're breaking up.
Oh, Jane, there's plenty more fish in the CCPC money tool.
Breaking up with your bank? Search for your new match using CCPC's free independent current account money tool. Find your new account now at ccpc.ie/move. From the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission.
086 60 25,000. That is the number to WhatsApp or text if you want to have your say, to get involved with us or get involved with the conversation. 086 60 25,000, or you can give us a call too on 074 91 25,000. More than delighted to take your calls. Just to remind you how you email, it's comments at highlandradio.com. Comments at highlandradio.com. And if you want to comment on our social media whilst watching the programme, please do. You can click on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, and watch us on YouTube or either of our Facebook pages, or just go straight to the website, actually, highlandradio.com, and you can interact with us there. Either way, we just want to hear from you and make sure that you feel that your voice is being heard on this programme. As we say, it's a hugely important one. Right, a comment here now. Hi, Greg. I've just buried my old friend, and the palliative care team were amazing. I would have been lost without them. Louise, Mary and Anne, the Irish Cancer Association, Oliver Gallagher for her care with Hubert, and Hubert got his wishes to pass away at home with me. To the carers, they do amazing work. I thank them all so much. That comes in from Carmel. Right, now, just taking their seat as we speak is Claire Cronin, who's the UN ambassador to Ireland. Claire, a very good morning to you. How are you keeping?
I am having a wonderful time.
You're being
here
dragged
in Donegal.
from pillar to post, are you?
Yes.
Your agenda is full.
Yes, we have a fabulous agenda, and we've been going like crazy since we got up here yesterday.
I suppose the first thing I should say to you is welcome home.
Yes.
Because,
thank
you know, I mean, obviously your position is, it's a lovely position and you represent the United States. But yesterday was particularly special for you, wasn't it? Because you were able to, it was a personal element to it. You were able to sort of retrace the steps of your forefathers.
Yeah, for sure. My granddad came from Donegal, and I grew up my whole life hearing about Donegal and how beautiful it was, and my father loved it so much. My brother and sister had an opportunity to visit here before, but I had not. This was my first. And to be able to come as the U.S. ambassador was just very, very special. And the warm welcome I received is, you know, I just can't believe it. It was
so
so
really nice,
unbelievable.
wasn't it? I haven't really seen something like that before. It was a real welcome home kind of a situation, wasn't it?
Oh, my God, it was wonderful. I mean, there were U.S. flags and signs, and school children came out, and it was just a great day that I will never forget.
Your grandfather was born and lived in, it's a small village, Caromina.
Yes.
Okay, so what were you able to do there yesterday?
So yesterday, and historically, if you were to go back to the Caromina evictions, my family was one of the 13 families that were evicted in the Caromina evictions. So yesterday we were at the Caromina Community Center. We visited the Remembrance Garden, and, you know, I saw the plaque on the evictions, which, you know, it really brought it home a little bit. Because it's only something I had read about before. And, of course, my dad used to tell me the stories growing up. And it was great.
And now you can say to your siblings, beat that.
Yeah.
You think your visit was good.
Yeah.
Look at the reception I received and what I've been. But it is nice. And something you want to explore a bit more, is it?
Yes.
Your connections and what have you?
Yes. And I said yesterday was like just the warmth of the welcome. you just can't put it into words. And I met a woman there, and it was really remarkable. She was a descendant of one of the families of the Carabiner evictions, and she was actually in the States, and someone reached out to her, and she was in Florida, saying, we're trying to get some American flags to welcome the ambassador, and they couldn't get them in time from Amazon. This woman flew from Florida to Philadelphia, picked up the order of flags, and flew into Belfast, and came over to distribute the flags all through the center of Carabiner. And I thought, look at that effort that woman made and the whole town made. It was just, you just can't stop smiling thinking about it.
Claire, how does one become the US ambassador, or any ambassador for that matter? But what was your journey to become the US ambassador to Ireland?
Sure. There are two paths. One, you can be a career foreign service professional, and that's one way. The other way is to become a political appointee. And I was nominated by President Biden. I first became friendly with President Biden prior to his beginning the race. Worked very hard for him during the campaign, starting actually before he had actually even announced his candidacy. And over that period of time, we got to know each other better. And when the time came where he had to pick someone, he put forth my name, which was just the honor of a lifetime.
And do you think that's even more of an honor, given the fact that he's clear, he celebrates his connections with Ireland, his Irishness, and so with that comes a bit of responsibility, I think, because you're probably more inclined to ask you how was your trip to Ireland than he might a trip to somewhere else, perhaps. Is it a bit more pressure for you, or a bit more of an honor, actually, maybe to coming in at a more positive approach?
It's both. It's certainly the honor of a lifetime, but I always look at any job I've undertaken, and ambassador is the same, not as the title, but as the responsibility, because when you have a job like this, there is a burden and a responsibility that goes along with it. So I certainly desire to do the job well. But knowing that President Biden has this very strong love, affection, appreciation for all things Ireland, it probably just spurs me on to try to do my very best while I'm here.
And he is visiting later this year, is that correct?
I don't know when he's coming. I have seen that it's been reported in some news cycle. I did have a conversation with him on the phone a couple of weeks ago, right prior to the Shamrock ceremony, and he did say he was visiting, but I didn't push him for the date. I figured that he'll let me know when the time is appropriate.
Yeah, of course. So, Claire, as in relation to what you hope to, how long is your term? As ambassador to Ireland?
I will be here as long as President Biden likes me to be here.
So it's at his gift, okay.
And typically in the second term, he would appoint a new ambassador. I think that's generally the way it's gone in the past.
We shall see how that goes. But what do you want to achieve, or what do you feel maybe you can achieve over the amount of time that you have in this position?
First and foremost, to strengthen our people-to-people ties. I mean, our ties between the United States and Ireland go back, and they're pretty much founded on ancestral ties. But our trade and investment is the glue that keeps it together. We have more than 900 companies that are located in Ireland, but it's a two-way street. In the same token, Ireland is the 9th largest foreign direct investor in the United States. So those trade and investment ties are there. As we move forward, one of my primary goals is to create an open door policy for both the U.S. Embassy and the Deerfield residents. So we began a program. We've started it 2 weeks ago, and it's for students in their transitional year that are right around age 16 and 17, and we know
I've just missed out on this.
Yeah, you just missed it by what, a year or two?
3 or 4 decades. Okay.
But what I have done is we've invited students. They come to Deerfield residence. I give them a tour of the September 11th monument, the gardens. Then we come in and I let them have the run of the downstairs, take them around. It's fun. The kids, they're doing selfies with their friends on, the beautiful rooms in there. And then we sit in the ballroom and we have a snack, and basically it's, brown bag with the ambassador and, kind of a Q&A. I always tell them, you can ask me any question you want, and it's been fabulous.
Do you think the sort of ties between, can we presume the ties between the United States and Ireland will always be strong? Going back a little bit of time, a lot of people elected to power in the United States would have been maybe Irish or second generation Irish or what have you, but I think there might only be one now currently there, and the world's changing so much. I mean, do we have to work on maintaining sort of that bond between the United States and Ireland, or do you believe it will always be there?
I believe it will always be there, but it might need a little love and affection along the way. I mean, someone gave me a statistic that and I hope I'm saying this correctly, but that 1 in 4 children that are age 6 in Ireland have a parent from a different country.
Yeah, probably right, yeah.
So that shows that Ireland's becoming more diverse. So the ancestral ties are becoming somewhat diluted, and that's why it's important for the younger generation, and that's one of the primary reasons we did start the Open Doors program. But also, the J1 visas. Well, now it's Bridge USA, but I'm older. It will always be a J1 visa to me. But to see the students come over and come to the United States, build their own connections, and the reality is this: Ireland is the only country in the world that has a standing meeting with the Taoiseach and the President of the United States. Only country in the world. And that's significant. But let's not forget, geographically, Ireland is, as a result of Brexit, while there is some short-term pain there, Ireland is now the gateway to the EU. And in the same token, it's the gateway for the EU to the US. So Ireland is positioned very well. Certainly,
and that relationship that already exists, obviously, it's a great leverage. It's a great advantage.
Yeah, sure.
To benefit as much as we can from that.
Yeah, terrific.
And in terms of, obviously, companies, American companies working and operating in Ireland, I mean, that seems to continue to go from strength to strength. There was concerns about, and I'm talking about tech here, there was some concerns that our adjustments as it relates to, VAT rates and what have you. It's not VAT. It is, anyway, the rates of tax, them being adjusted upwards might have a negative impact. But a note from the head of Google recently, they said that they don't believe that will be the case, that they'll continue wanting to operate and expand and grow and invest in Ireland.
Sure. And that global minimum tax rate, that was certainly
corporation tax it is.
Yeah,
of course,
the global. That was certainly a U.S. policy. But it is one that what we find is the tax rate is really just one factor that companies consider when they come in. There are many, many more reasons for businesses to want to invest in Ireland. You have a highly educated workforce, an English-speaking workforce, proximity to the EU, proximity to the U.S., there are far more reasons, and the comments by Google, just show that that's only one factor.
And I think maybe the threat the change to corporation tax might have on the economy here might have been somewhat amplified by the media, because most of the commentary I was hearing from government, they were playing it down. But if you were reading about it, it was going to have this devastating effect. But we've yet to see. But from the people that make these decisions, I'm hearing the right noises that it won't impact us too negatively.
Yeah, I agree. Let's not forget it is a minimum. It's a floor, not a ceiling.
Okay. A caller asks, everyone wants to claim you now, I think. A caller asks if the ambassador also has relations in the Greencastle area. No. Maybe that is yet to be explored.
Yeah. So, we began in Carramina, or as far back as we can connect. But yesterday I had the opportunity to go to Ballymacarthur, which is I was able to view the actual home that my grandfather left. Not exactly sure about Greencastle, but there are an awful lot of McLaughlins up here.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
really,
I
all we'd have to connect is your grandfather to a relation in Greencastle, and that's how it works, isn't it? Well, hi, Greg. We had a fantastic day yesterday welcoming our new ambassador to Caromina. Well done to Anthony and all who helped him get Caromina looking beautiful for the visit, and we saw the efforts, and we heard from the ambassador the efforts that went into that, which is amazing. I mean, people might lobby you on certain things. Say, for instance, the undocumented. There's probably 45, 50,000 people from Ireland are living there. They've got families in America. They pay tax in America, but they feel they can't come back to, say, attend a funeral or a wedding, whatever it might be, for fear of them not being allowed back in and being banned from returning. Is that something that your office can sort of lobby on, or do you have representations made to you on issues such as that, and then you can relate them on to the powers that be?
Sure. It's an issue that I am very familiar with. I come from the Boston area, and we certainly have neighborhoods in the Boston area that have many individuals from Ireland. Many of them I know personally, so I can appreciate this problem greatly. As an ambassador, we always try to spread the word to Congress about what we're hearing in this country. Certainly your Irish elected officials, this is a decision for Congress, and there will have to be comprehensive immigration reform, that it's not specific to Ireland alone, which is a congressional issue. And one thing I can say, many of your elected officials here are really doing the job of, fostering the ties in Ireland, in the U.S. We have many delegations go over for St. Patrick's Day. Recently, Minister Coveney was in Boston and in Washington, D.C. as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those conversations are happening. What impact an ambassador can actually have, I don't know, but I certainly share the concerns whenever I have an opportunity to speak.
And I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's about another voice saying, this is what I'm hearing. Obviously, we talk about the ties and the supports between the United States and Ireland. We talk about, our cultural connections and gateways into Europe, and all that's very important. How significant do you think it was, the US working with Ireland as it relates to the recent, really, it was a mind-blowing press conference down in Dublin as it relates to law enforcement in the United States working with Ireland and others in relation to sanctions being levied against the Kinahan organised crime gang? I mean, that was something else. There was I felt a real significance to that, not just of the subject matter, but that cooperation there.
It was very significant, and it was something that had been being worked on. I believe it began with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, but that is a prime example of the ways in which our country can work together. There was an effort by United States DEA, Customs and Border Protection, the Treasury Department, the sanctions that were put against the Kinahan family. But we also, this was something we worked on with Interpol or Europol and the law enforcement within Ireland. And it was a really strong transatlantic, great partnership that I believe will have a very significant impact.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be necessarily on that organisation. I think going forward, this changes things. This disrupts this type of activity. I think when people say, I mean, really, at this stage, there's not really a hiding place. If countries work together like that, I mean, there's no hiding place for these people.
Yeah, and we recently saw the United Arab Emirates came on board with their own sanctions as well. So it will make it far more difficult to engage in these activities that have such a horrible impact on so many people.
Some reports that in that case against the three principal named individuals, that the way the system works, that charges may already have been in sealed documents, may have already have been levied against them. We don't know. You don't have any insight into that, do you?
I do not. I know that there is continually work being done.
All right. Do you say all these nice things about everywhere you go, Ambassador, I wonder, or are we getting special nice comments here in beautiful Donegal?
Well, I mean, what's not to
I'm going to be
about
monitoring your future interviews now.
What's not to love?
I'm actually originally from Kerry.
You are?
No, I'm saying that's what you might say at a Kerry radio station.
No,
Okay.
no. Well, I do have other strong family ties. On my granddad's side, it's Donegal, and what's not to love about Donegal? But I do on my mom's side. My people came from Cork, Galway, and County Clare.
Yeah.
So
all beautiful counties.
yes,
You're from
I think I've got a good chunk of the map covered.
Yeah, you're from very good stock. What have you got planned now? I won't delay you any further. What have you got planned now for the rest of your time, the rest of your visit?
Well, we've got a good day ahead. We are heading to Kellybegs.
Mm-hmm.
We are also...
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you've got a quite an itinerary. Killybegs is beautiful, and the weather's going to be beautiful for you as well there.
Yeah.
Claire, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been lovely having you in.
Likewise.
And chatting to you. And we really appreciate your time because you had to go out of your way to come here. So it's very
it's my
nice.
first time, but it's not my last.
Yeah,
that I can assure you.
But even to come to this radio station is really what I meant. But Claire, listen, it's been lovely having you.
Likewise.
And we'll chat again soon, I hope.
I hope.
All right, that's Claire Cronin, UN Ambassador to Ireland. Enjoy the rest of your time.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back with more on the programme after the break.
At McGee's.ie, you can create gallery quality art on canvas from your favourite photo, direct from your phone, laptop, or PC. Simply upload your favourite picture and have it printed on canvas, transformed into gallery quality art for as little as $44.95. Click and collect or have it delivered to your door, ready to hang. Big pics, small prices. At McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny. See McGee's.ie.
Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure has everything you need to gear up for the GAA season this year. Get your hands on the brand new Donegal GAA home jersey, available in men's, ladies and kids, or gear up the whole family for pre-season and match days with the new Harlem range of sweaters, leggings and snoods at michaelmurphysports.ie.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
The 9 till noon show with City of Derry Airport. Pre-book your airport parking, fast track and lounge access at cityofderryairport.com for a stress-free start to your trip.
At Lidl, we do things every day to make life better for us all. Things like being the first retailer to work with farmers on a sustainable beef programme to improve environmental impact. Donating over 600,000 meals in the last year through our partnership with Food Cloud. And helping bees by doubling our number of pollinator-friendly stores in 2022. Decision by decision, day by day, we're taking Lidl steps to a better tomorrow. Join us on our journey today at lidlsteps.ie. Lidl, more for you.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Buncrana should attend the clinic in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel on Monday 9th and Tuesday 10th, and donors from Carndonna should attend the clinic in the Carndonna Community School on Wednesday 11th and Thursday 12th of May. To ensure social distancing, all donors need to make an appointment, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. New donors are welcome. Visit giveblood.ie to see eligibility and clinic details.
With longer evenings, outdoor living is back and there's great offers right now in garden furniture at Kelly Central Letterkenny. Outdoor tables, chairs and benches at unbeatable prices. Also, portable barbecues, accessories and everything for grilling and chilling. Find all you need for outdoor entertainment at Kelly's award-winning Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Highland Ireland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Get ready to hit the beach and soak up the sun by choosing flights to Alicante, Barcelona, Faro, Mallorca, Malaga and Milan this summer with Ryanair. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
So a blustery day today with sunny spells and scattered showers. Some will turn heavy dependent where you are. Temperatures of 13 or 14 degrees in moderate to fresh and gusty. Southwesterly winds increasing strong at times near coast. But if you live near coast, you're well used to that, aren't you? Right, okay. Now a motion is going before the council shortly as it relates to events surrounding the Irish Legends Golf Tournament. It's at the Rosapenna Hotel and Golf Resort, running from the 16th to the 20th of August 2022. Councillor Liam Blaney has a motion down on this. I suppose, Councillor, before we get to the thrust of your motion, I mean, this is it's a huge event to be located in Donegal. It's going to be great that crowds will be able to attend. Is it getting the platform, the attention, do you think, that it deserves?
Well, first of all, it's a massive event, as you said, Greg, for the Downings area. And this is the second year now in a row it's been there. But unfortunately, last year, because of the restrictions with COVID, people were not allowed to attend it. And thankfully, Paul McGinley has managed to take it back to the great resort in Downings, the great golf resort that is down there with 3 magnificent golf courses. And it's come back now in the middle of August again, and I had a motion on the council at the end of last year that we're trying to organise a festival for that week of events on Downings. And we've heard very little back since as far as council is concerned. That's why the motion on for today, that the council will be kept updated and informed of what exactly is taking place there. And look, I'm sure you have the reply in front of you there, and it is very positive.
You'd be surprised. I don't. What is the reply, Councillor?
Well, give me a wee minute to get into it here.
No problem. And whilst you do that, how does this work? Is this about supporting people in the community or the resort itself to organise things, or is this something the council would take a lead on, Liam?
Well, I was hoping the council would take a lead on that. You know, the council gets maybe a lot of bad press times about things that they don't do. But I think the reply here to this motion, and I'm getting a more updated report on it again later on at the meeting, at our early meeting, is that the reply here states that Council's Tourism Marketing Unit under the Economic Development Division has been working closely with event organisers, European Tours, on the organisation of the festival and golf to coincide with the Irish Legends tournament presented by the Paul McGinley Foundation at the Rosapenna Hotel and Golf Resort from the 16th to 20th of August 2022. It is proposed to host live music entertainment on the Friday and Saturday night, and we expect to be announcing the headline acts in the coming weeks. The team is also engaging with Donegal Food Coast as well as local businesses to set up a bespoke Donegal food village during both the tournament and the festival, providing a strong, authentic Donegal food offering to visitors. The team are also working closely with the local community downings, including the local GA Club and the Tiny Towns Committee, and making arrangements for the events, as well as with the Council Environment team to ensure that the event is as sustainable and environmentally friendly as possible. An upcoming meeting is planned with our local service providers, including Council Roads teams and Garda Síochána, Civil Defence, in the coming weeks. The communications and marketing plan is currently being prepared, and this will work hand in hand with the marketing activities of the Irish Legends Tournament. An update report will be included in the report today. Look,
that's really positive, isn't it? I mean, it sounds like there's a great deal of intent. I mean, if that all comes off, it's really going to add to what's already got huge potential for the area.
Yeah, the opportunity is there and the potential is there, and I think it's something that can be worked on. And the council is working hard on it. And I have to thank the council and the economic development team and the tourism team is working on that. And it was a huge opportunity to try and make a massive thing out of this Legends Tour and Downings, and I think that they're working hard to try and achieve that.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, this is the long game as well, Liam, because, I mean, obviously the 16th to the 20th of August, it's to make sure people enjoy themselves, but there's going to be a lot of visitors from all over the place, peak season, beautiful weather, I'm sure. You know, you hope that people come and learn more about Donegal, return, and that's where the real benefits for the, you know, outside the golfing community, for the broader community, that's where the benefits are really felt.
That's where the benefits felt. It might take a couple of years' time down the line, you know, before you will realise that the people came to that tournament, enjoyed the few days they stayed there that much, that they've come back down, they've booked a holiday home, they've booked hotel rooms, they've booked whatever, because they enjoyed themselves that much when they were here, and they enjoyed the place. And hopefully that will be a bigger spin-off down to the next couple of years to the whole community, to all businesses and the area.
And also to what they could do this year, what they couldn't do last year, and has changed since I spoke to you, and I think you sort of hinted at something was in the offing, is access has been put in place for Murderhole. It's almost world famous at this stage, that beach.
Well, there's a landowner put in access there to the beach, and
are you happy with that?
It relieves. Well, you're happy that there's access to it because it relieves a lot of pressure was on there on local people that could not get out, and there's businesses there that people could not get out, and emergency services couldn't get in if they were needed because of the amount of people and the amount of cars coming and parking along roads and abandoning cars and blocking roads. And it's great to see that somebody's taken an initiative and went ahead and done that. And I'm hoping now that will be worked on and it will be improved on and make as another great facility for people coming on holidays, for someone else for them to do, and an access for them to get out to the Murderhole. There's no one countrywide at this stage, and then a lot further.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and I mean, it's not access for everyone. I mean, you have to have a bit of a pep in your step to use it. But I suppose it's half a loaf is better than no bread at all.
Well, it is a walk out to it. I was out on it, and I'm sure something can be worked on for people maybe that's not able to walk out to it. It could be maybe made more friendly for people that aren't maybe as able to walk that distance. But that's something that's worked on down the line, and as I said already, I hope everybody can pull together now and to ensure that that is improved on, and the access is improved on, and that the experience that everybody comes, the visitors who comes there to see the experience that they have, will be improved on as well.
All right, Councillor Liam Blaney, thank you for joining us.
Great. Just one other wee quick thing, and you'll be interested in this as well. And it's been mentioned now for a number of years. Go back to Councillor Noel McBride. He's the first person I've heard that mention it. Joe McHugh, John O'Donnell, and myself about the footpath from Carrigart to Downings. And thankfully last year it was eventually at last passed by Board Malala, and the problem then was identifying funding for it, and I identified funding at the motion at the last meeting that would apply for ORIS Measure 3 funding, which is 500,000 for to do that road, and I'm just at a meeting here at the minute, and I'll be very positive from the feedback we're getting here that that's just going to, there's only one application allowed per county for this ORIS funding, and I'm hopeful that at this stage that Downey is going to be applied for this year, and it's going to be a big boost to that as well, to get a footpath on from there, from the bridge at Carrigart, right down the whole way down to meet up with the footpath that is coming up from the Downing side, and maybe improving that footpath as well.
All right, great news for the area, and if you're optimistic it's the only application in, and that if all goes, if the wind blows the right way, the money will be there to begin that sooner rather than later?
I'm very hopeful on it at this stage.
All right, okay, good stuff.
Boost to the area too. Thanks,
great
Greg.
stuff indeed. Great boost for the area. Councillor Liam Blaney there with a roundup of the Downings community notices. But we do appreciate Liam using the opportunity to give us all that information there. The Tramone Historical Society were delighted to have met the Ambassador yesterday and want to thank her for coming. I probably should have referred to as Ambassador rather than Claire. That's my mistake. I hope it didn't offend anyone. But anyway, I'm forgetful with titles. Greg, I think more power needs to be handed over to the GP in terms of pain management prescriptions. I've decided to not opt for chemotherapy. I and others, I believe, would benefit if GPs had the power to prescribe more natural pain relief, such as cannabis oil. Okay, I mean, that's a big decision you made there, and maybe if it's something that you wish to talk about, it might be of interest to other people to hear your experience and the reasons which lots of people make similar decisions. Okay. Just something that jumped out at me from the newspapers today, and it's buried in it, and it upsets me. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. But the treatment of older people in this country is something that I think should be put above an awful lot else. You know, we talk about big spend on defending the country, you know, having an army that's almost 10,000 and having tanks and airplanes and stuff. And I think, yeah, I mean, let's have that discussion, but please let's do it after we get the basics right. And that's making sure that older people aren't waiting for hours on end in EDs, that they aren't feeling isolated, that they aren't, struggling to make ends meet. These are the people that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for. But anyway, I'm ranting a little bit. This is off the back of a headline I read, which upset me greatly. Almost 16,000 cases of elder abuse have been reported within Health Service Executive funded services for older people over the past 5 years. 16,000 cases in services funded by the HSE, really is what I'm saying. So 5 into 16, you can see an awful lot that's happening, and how many are reported versus how many go unreported. The number of abuse concerns relating to over 65s increased from 3,029 in 2016 to a peak of 3,412 in 2020, the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic. The number of cases reportedly strongly underestimates the true level of elder abuse, according to the SAGE Advocacy. It's a group that campaigns on safeguarding issues. These figures are just the tip of the iceberg, according to SAGE Deputy Chairperson Patricia Rickard-Clark, who pointed out that they do not cover abuse in private nursing homes, hospitals or other services such as homeless units or addiction centres. The most common type of concern reported to the HSE over the period involved psychological abuse, which accounted for 35% of reports in 2020. Physical abuse accounted for 23% of cases in that year, while 19% involved financial abuse, according to the HSE's National Safeguarding Office. Neglect was involved in 15% of cases, and self-neglect 4% of cases. A total of 4,379 cases of physical abuse of older people were reported over the 5 years, and 665 of sexual abuse. The figures were provided to Fine Gael TD Fergus O'Dowd in response to a question about the number of investigations carried out within HSE older persons services. So the most horrific claims there, allegations and findings, 16,000 cases of elder abuse over 5 years. That is, I mean, I don't see it anywhere else, and it's in the middle of the paper, and fair play for the paper, fair play to the paper for reporting it. But like, how could that not be front page news? I don't know. Right, a couple of comments as we head towards the end of the programme. This caller says it's great that the Irish Legends Tour is coming to Rosapenna, but the problem is that the local amenities cannot cope with any more people in the area. As a local, we often lose water when the place is busy, and the sewage system can't cope either. These issues we need to be upgraded before more people come. But look, I mean, this is the first time I've heard this claim, but everyone's not going to stay, on site. People will stay in Letterkenny or stay in Milford or wherever accommodation might be available and travel into it. But I take your point, and maybe it's obviously it's an area that's grown in popularity, but have the amenities grown at the same pace? I don't know. All right, listen, that's where we have to leave it on the programme today. We're back with